Skin cells, I think it takes like 2 years to completely...
To go through a whole cycle of cells.
Yeah.
What'd you put in there?
What?
What'd you put in there?
Incense? I think it's a dragon's blood.
Dragon's blood. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not weird.
You didn't help your case by naming it dragon's blood, Jace.
Yeah, honestly, that's a bit of a stretch,
Yeah.
even for me.
Hold on. You're gonna know what weed smells like when I smoke it.
That's
It's
true.
a very distinct smell, and it does not smell like this.
No, I'd be concerned if it did.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like you're smoking Nightshade.
Should we grab some drinks before we get started?
It's rolling.
Oh,
Actually.
fuck. Hey,
wonderful.
guys.
Oh,
Hey,
well, okay.
everybody.
We don't do anything illegal here.
Welcome to the stream. I think it's funny that every time we stream, we're somewhere else.
Yeah.
Every time. Like, it's either the living room, a random bar, the backyard. It's next time,
Yeah.
we're going to be on the moon.
Yeah.
We're going to be in a car on
Yeah.
top of the car after that.
Yeah.
We're going to be in a crowded highway. Like rush hour traffic highway.
That'd be fun.
Well, we're at a subway stop, just like, hey guys, what's going on? So, yeah. How's everybody been?
Great. Excellent. I have yet to watch the complete series of Kenobi, so I feel like I'm doing great.
You
at
are.
least.
You're doing fantastic. Me and
I've
Jonathan are
seen
both...
more than I've wanted to.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, that show just... So, yeah, it's probably what we're going to be talking about mostly today, is Kenobi.
Nah, we'll go off
We'll
the
go
handle
off
on
the,
something
off the
else.
rails for
We
sure.
always do.
I mean, talk about movies in general. That's just what I
Yeah, movies are fun.
movies are really fun. You were watching Saving Private Ryan the other day.
I was. So you guys, I decided to invent a drinking game where you pick a random movie. Hello, car. And then you drink every time a character dies in that movie. And so my first movie was Saving Private Ryan. That bottle is empty now. But I mean, that's. I originally I was getting ready to watch the movie because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and quite frankly, there hasn't been very good movies lately. So I was like, I wanted something entertaining to watch, and I was like, I don't know if it's right to watch that movie without having a drink for the first half.
Yeah, just like,
You gotta
man,
pour one out for all the homies on the beach.
Yeah, and then my brain was like, yeah, but what if you turned it into a drinking game? And I was like, brain, no.
last drinking game I did, I thoroughly regretted because.
Was that our alcoholic
Guys,
Uno?
hey, editor.
Me.
Editor, yeah, sure. Editor, somewhere in there, put in a clip of Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima saying that Honor died on the beach. It's a really hard-ass line if you played the game and know the context, but that line also, fits with
It's like a
D-Day.
double entendre. Oh man, yeah. The last drinking game I played though was me and Shay were watching Top Gun, and the amount of rules in there was freaking hilarious. It was like drink anytime Maverick breaks the rules.
Oh, God.
Drink every time Kenny Loggins plays Danger Zone. Drink every time there's a gay innuendo. It was
Wait a minute.
bad.
Did they buy the rights for multiple uses of Danger Zone for that movie?
They played it like 7 times in that movie.
Wow.
I mean, it was
Wow.
awesome, but we didn't finish the movie. We got about halfway through, and I'm like, I can't. I've had like 7 shots. I'm done. Like, that was it. I was gone.
Speaking of alcohol, we went to the liquor store
Yes.
the other day to restock.
Which, by the
on
way,
some
I
things.
went to the liquor store today to pick up our cigars. They were giving out free samples, and I was like, "Fuck yeah,
What
this
was
is
it?
awesome!" I'm not kidding.
On site?
On site, in like little cups. This new whiskey got put out, and it's basically like a cinnamon one. They're trying to compete with Fireball.
Yeah.
And she walked out and she's like, well, of course, I'll need to check your ID and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but is that like free sample? She's like, yeah, it was like a little plastic cup and it just had a dribble on the bottom. And I'm like, it's still a free fucking sample. Yeet. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, back when I worked at the liquor store, I would get the free samples whenever we got a new product in.
Right.
They brought this one bourbon. It was like a minimally aged at like 6 years. It was called Puncher or something like that. It's probably one of the smoothest bourbons I've ever had. It was so good.
After only being aged for 5 years?
Wow, yeah, well, around 5 or 6. I don't know what they did to it, but it was really, really good.
We added antifreeze to
The cats love it.
But we went to the liquor store the other day, and I've got some of that Devil's Cut because I've always wanted to try it. And I remember telling you about this.
Right.
And it's so good. I think we've all had a shot, right?
Yeah,
it's
Devil's
so
Cut.
good.
Yeah, it's actually I don't know if Riley's had a shot at Devil's
I
Cut.
think we did one earlier.
We just did one. Like
Oh yeah, did you?
Ago.
Okay,
yeah.
I missed that. Okay.
This was before you got home from work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like whiskeys, because every whiskey is going to like give you some heartburn. But as far as whiskeys, like it goes down smooth. Like, and it'll at least be in your throat by the time you feel the burn.
Right.
So it lingers just long enough. It like holds it back just long enough for it to at least be in your system.
Do you guys remember what the first liquor you tried was?
The first liquor was, I'm a total fucking princess in this movie. So, like, I'm playing a princess in this movie. The story does not paint me in a good light.
Oh no.
But the first, like, real liquor I had was because, like, if we're talking, like, liquor, like, I'm not talking about, like, my first beer that my stepdad shared.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a story for that too, but
yeah. I mean, that's a totally different story. But, like, liquor, I was, like, 13, and I had, like, 3 neat glasses of, like, fresh out of the freezer whipped cream flavored vodka.
Oh wow!
Oh, God.
Oh.
Pinnacle,
it's funny. So yeah, you did vodka. My first liquor was vodka. I did screwdrivers, and I was 16, and I had like 5 in one night. And by the end, I was pouring my own shots, and it was like I was pouring it. It was overflowing, and I'm like, it's in the drink. Hammer. I threw up 3 times that night. It was bad. It's like, man, this shit's good.
I absolutely just like
got hammered.
I got so fucking blasted, and because it's funny that you do vodka because it was like that's like my first like real alcohol experience. Like,
yes.
My mom would let me have like sips of her Bloody Mary when I was a kid, but I'm talking like
you had a sip of that wine on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. But like that night was like the first time I like drank.
Yeah.
And I threw up in my shower. And this was back when I had hair. Yeah. So my brother Seth was holding my hair like I'm a fucking prom queen at a bar. And he's just like holding my hair while I puke into my shower drain.
Was your date upset with you?
Maybe. Seeing as to how I didn't fucking see them all night, so they probably ditched my ass.
My first experience was atrocious. It was at my friend Dakota's house, and this was like 8th grade, right? And so his dad had this full bar downstairs, and that's where Dakota and we would all stay down there. Right. And so Dakota's like, so I think if we just take a little bit out of each bottle, right? Now, so we never drink liquor before. Yes. And so our dumbasses pour out like a shot of, all right, well, here's the whiskey, here's the scotch, here's the gin, here's the vodka. And we tried each one of them. I got obscenely sick. So, and then we tried to convince his dad in the morning that I drank too much Gatorade. Of course. Mr. Spivey wasn't buying it.
Props to you, man.
But I do remember the first one was Knob Creek whiskey.
Oh, God. That shit tastes like fucking burnt acorns.
It's a rough introduction, but I followed it with gin, which...
Oh, shit. Cats.
Shame them.
Out of the kitchen!
I'll get him if... I'll go ahead and grab the stove and make myself a drink if y'all guys keep the stream going.
Yeah.
I'll tell my experience because mine's a little bit because you guys all had a common theme about having like vodka or Knobs Creek bourbon. My first liquor was moonshine.
Hell yeah!
Classic.
Starting at the very top and only going down since.
Yep, it explains a lot about my drinking habits. But my dad always drank from this inconspicuous bottle that he kept in the freezer that never froze, like the liquid never froze, and it was purple.
What?
And he called it purple juice. And me,
It's very enticing to a child.
me being a kid that I am,
dude, that's just like
thought it was grape juice of some kind.
Yeah, dude, he described it like it was the purple drink, like the purple stuff from the Sunny D commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I have Sunny D, soda, water, and of course purple
stuff. So I've always wanted to try purple juice, and I never asked. I skipped straight to the stealing part.
Yes.
So he was out, and I was home alone. I must have been like 10 or 11-ish. Old enough where I could be at home for a couple of hours by myself, and no one's really concerned. And I was looking for something to drink, and I was like, what am I gonna get? So I was like, there's purple juice in the freezer. Let me have a sip of that, because it's not water. Anything but water. I worked at a liquor store for a time, and I think the highest moonshine that I saw was like 185.
Yeah.
I think 185 is it. It's over like 72% alcohol. Whatever this was, there was a proof on it that there was no way for you to know about. Oh shoot!
So, I figure we should go ahead and do introductions because we didn't do introductions.
Let's consider for a second. What if that was the stuff from the commercial? Like,
Wait,
purple stuff was just your dad's moonshine.
Wait, what are we talking about? Purple power?
He was talking about.
So we're talking. Y'all had your first experience with alcohol. Mine was my dad's moonshine.
Oh no.
That he kept in the freezer.
Oh no.
Because he called it purple juice. And
how does that not sound appetizing
that
to a child?
That sounds like Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's like, I could go for some of that.
It's purple juice, right?
So
I took a sip, and thank God I only took a sip, because all it needed to do was hit my lips.
That will burn.
And it was straight up drinking gasoline. It was so bad.
Like, Jeremy, you're gonna have a kid one of these days. Don't call it purple drink.
No.
Don't call it purple juice.
I'll call it poison.
Mystical elixir.
I was like, what's that?
That's what it is.
Rat poison. Don't touch it.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus. I realized when we started stream. I didn't go through introductions first. So I guess a good way to go is we'll start from you going. I guess from the screen, it's from right to left.
Oh.
Who you are, what you want to talk about, and what cigar you're smoking.
All right. Well, I'm Riley Walton. I'm here to talk about mostly what media we have consumed within the past couple of weeks since we've seen each other.
Yeah.
And I am smoking Perdomo Habano. This is just another classic, thick, long, because I like to keep things bisexual here.
Hey, happy Pride Month, you guys.
And if you must know, it's from Esteli Habana.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I forgot my fucking punch.
Oof.
Here, you go ahead. I'll grab my shit. Jace, you go.
I'm Jace. I'm Jeremy's roommate. I kind of live here, so I got dragged into this mess. No, I'm just joking. I'm here to help talk about whatever we're going to talk about, whatever that might be. Smoke it up with the boys and have a good time. Hope you guys are enjoying. Leave a comment in the comment section. Give us some things to do. We're thinking about getting the channel started back up and running. Doing live streams and things of that nature, but we're also leaning towards writing and doing some scripted content. So I'm hoping soon we can start on some of those projects. That'll be a lot of fun. So you guys let us know what you guys want to see from us. Whether we're playing some video games or we're doing some scripted content. Anyways, I'm Jace. I'm smoking the 10-year champagne. I don't smoke much, so I don't know how far I'll get on this one. This is a long ass boy.
That is a long ass boy.
Whoo, with your boys, skinny cigar.
So, my turn. I'm Jeremy. You all guys know me.
Woo,
you all love me. It's fantastic. Today I'm here to talk about mostly Disney Star Wars as a whole, and mostly why I'm fucking done with it. Oh, you're pushing it from the bottom. The button retracts it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's dumb. I usually hold it from the bottom when I press. That way it doesn't retract. It's a little wonky.
More you know.
Why would you not make the big red button?
I know, right?
Everyone wants to hit the big red button,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Obviously. It's like the champagne on top. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You bitch.
Ooh.
Fuck out. It's fine.
Anyway.
It's protein.
It's just pure protein.
It's doing.
protein shake in my liquor.
I'm here to talk about Disney Star Wars. What was good back then? Some of the arguments that people have been posing when in regards to Disney Star Wars and Kenobi specifically, and the ways that I think they could have done it better personally. Because I feel like if you're gonna, you shouldn't just talk shit to talk shit.
Right.
If you're gonna talk about something, you should back it up with maybe some better advice or things like that.
I don't know how you're getting this in.
All right, I'll punch it for you.
I'm Jonathan. I drive a forklift, raised in the Bit Coven. I also enjoy Star Wars, or at least my childhood memories of it.
That's
I'm
why
just
we're
chilling. And I'm smoking a Peppa Von Winkle's
Oh, hell yeah.
Family Reserve.
That is a nefarious title to give a cigar.
Oh, I didn't say what I was smoking.
Yeah, come on.
My name is Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel.
Similar to Jace's, I'm smoking a 10th anniversary champagne. However, it is the Magnum 50.
Ooh.
Imported and handmade. It came in a tube, and all I saw was the tube, and it was like, yes.
Jeremy wears Magnums and he smokes Magnums.
Wait, what if it's not like an actual cigar? That is some sort of liquor
It's a
thing.
cigar.
That'd be so funny, though.
That's nice.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Grab a drink very quick. Go right ahead.
Would you
go
mind
ahead and punch
punching
it.
it
Yeah,
for
I'll
me?
punch it for you.
Oh, I'm gonna grab a drink too, before we get started.
So yeah, we'll probably me and Riley, you can do some catch up while they're making their drinks. What have you been watching recently?
Okay,
What shows have you been dialing in on?
Okay. I don't consider myself a Star Wars fan because every other like new show people just shit on. And I'm just like, are you guys actually fans?
I've gotten to the point now where I consider myself a OT Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
More than just a Star Wars fan. I don't consider myself I'm not a Disney Star Wars fan. I usually put it that way. Because I feel like there's Star Wars and there's Disney Star Wars. Because you can tell that Disney has changed a lot in regards to both canon and characters, in the sense that they fucking hate their characters. The characters that used to be beloved. So for me, I consider myself a Star Wars fan, a George Lucas Star Wars fan. However, I try to be a little bit balanced, because some people are like, the prequels were so good, and I'm like, they were alright. The prequels were okay.
See, that's the thing, is like, I like that about the sequels, because they gave people a reason to shut the fuck up about how bad the prequels were.
Right? Exactly.
It's like, people spent 20 years just
bitching
shitting
about
and
the
bitching
prequels.
about the prequels and how it ruined Star Wars.
And they've had a bit of a renaissance recently, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, you look back on the prequels, and I think, honestly, memes have saved the prequels.
And you know what? It's like how, like, if not for memes, things would have gotten the popularity that it deserved. But because of memes, it's like there's always like that cult group that really liked it.
Right.
And you find out that cult group is not so cult. It's actually really big.
Exactly.
Because I think, like, the reason why it's a renaissance now is because, like, the kids who watched it when it came out are now adults.
Exactly, yeah. Now you're starting to see the people who actually appreciated the prequels when they were children, like us.
Mm-hmm. I was just like, was the point of the prequels just to, like, feed you more lore about...
Basically. it was part of it was a cash grab, I reckon.
Yeah.
It feels that way. That's nice. God, I miss cigars. Part of it was a cash grab to me, because obviously if you look at the Phantom Menace and Jar Jar Binks, it's totally meant to sell toys. The pod racing, all the unique vehicles and droids, like, come on.
I don't think that's unusual of Star Wars to, like, go for the merchandising angle when it...
I mean, look at the Ewoks, you know? I think merchandising was a big portion of Star Wars. That's what fucking made the money, you know what I mean? But, which, I find funny. It's like, you would think Disney would know how to merchandise.
Yeah.
You would think they would know how to do this.
But,
and Disney, in its prime, has put out some absolute banger movies.
Fair.
It's just...
They don't seem to do shows well.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's like... I think it's just modern Disney. You know, Disney hasn't really put out a good movie since they bought Pixar. I mean, you know, you had WALL-E and stuff like that was good. You know, I mean, I would say their most recent thing that was okay was like maybe Inside.
I think it's because they bought Pixar. A lot of the original guys still worked at Pixar.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't until much later that they replaced a lot of the staff of the OG Pixar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That you started to see like a flux in their quality.
Yeah, but I mean
that happens a lot with like when companies merge.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the problem, especially when Disney started buying Marvel, and then all of Phase 4. I don't know if you've seen any of Phase 4 Marvel.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, so Marvel it's done in phases. Phase 1 was like Iron Man, Captain America, up until the Avengers, right?
Yeah, that was Phase 2.
Yeah, and that's what started Phase 2. Well, I don't know, but after Avengers Endgame, they started doing Phase 4.
What was Phase 3?
Phase 3 was everything, was like, you know, the Spider-Man Homecoming, Black Panther, everything coming up to Endgame.
Okay.
And Phase 4 was everything after. And I don't know if you've watched anything from Phase 4, because I have. And besides No Way Home, the Spider-Man Sony movie, everything has been utter trash and has destroyed the Marvel Universe. Here's the biggest, or one of the biggest ones. I think Doctor Strange might have taken the cake recently.
Yeah.
But because they literally broke their own universe and the way it operates.
Okay.
Well, the multiverse, I'll have it. So, in the show Loki, they did this thing. It freaking blows my mind. I don't understand how the right
a fucking show now.
Yeah, Loki had his show.
I was almost on it.
Here's the thing. Okay, so I just want to point this out with this the antagonist of Loki is what destroys Marvel Cinematic
Is Loki
Universe.
not the antagonist of his own show?
No, he is the hero.
Kang.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kang, exactly. Because the way the system works in Loki is there's a group of people that if there is only one timeline. There is no such thing as a multiverse. There is one timeline. The reason why is because if anything split, TLDR is that the enemy antagonist Kang could not exist if there were these split universes. So everything that's happened because Kang wanted it to. There was no free will, no choice.
Really?
Everything, Captain America and his sacrifices, Iron Man dying, all that was because Kang wanted it to happen. It wasn't because of their own personal choices. So you basically character assassinated the entire Marvel universe.
Is Kang even canon, or is he just a myth?
He's a character, and he dies in the end, and that's where the multiverse actually begins and cultivates. And that's
so you're saying now everything has free choice?
Now everything has free will, and it's like, wow. So all the cool movies up until this point have been purposeless.
What's y'all's favorite Marvel movie?
God, I don't know, but I am looking forward to the new Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I was probably going to
Because
say
I think
Ragnarok.
Yeah, Ragnarok. Thor's my guy.
I mean, I do like Thor.
The only thing that gets me about Thor is that you're talking about a guy that's like over 1,000 years old, and now he's deciding to find himself like. You know?
I don't know how old Thor is supposed to be in the show.
Well, like
movies.
in the movies, he's supposed to be thousands of years old.
Right.
The thing that I liked about Thor as a character, because he's my favorite character,
right,
is that it was all about trying to become a king. Like he's trying to learn how to be king and how to rule Asgard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then in Endgame, which I don't like Endgame, in Endgame he's like, I've had 3 movies of trying to become king, but you know what? I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
Deuces. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, fuck all the character development I did for the past 3 movies that have made that were not box office hits, but Ragnarok was.
Yeah. Sure.
He's like, yeah, but I'm fat now. Deuces. Later. I'm like, that's dumb. I did not like the fat Thor thing. I heard some people, they had a theory called Punish Thor, which was, it goes off the same thing. Thor doesn't kill Thanos, right? And so, what is, the whole thing is how does Thor cope with this?
Right.
The way Endgame went is they made him a joke.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, he's just fat and lazy and sad, whatever. But there was another concept going around where he became an authoritarian guy, where he became so overprotective and aggressive on everything. Like he was cutthroat killer. Like if anything,
Isn't that the same plot?
Authoritarian.
Yeah. That's the same plot as Injustice, though.
Yeah, where Superman just becomes a dictator.
Yeah, it's kind of along those lines. But
I think Injustice was doing it pretty well at that point.
Yeah, but I do think it's a good angle for
I think it would have been a great angle for it. I think the reason they wouldn't go with it is because it is so similar to Injustice.
Well, I think that's dumb because it's a great angle.
If you want to be honest, Injustice is probably the only thing that could save the DC universe, in my opinion, right now.
Well, they released a cartoon movie, but I'm waiting for the live action.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Live action of what, Injustice?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I want to see a live action Injustice. I want to see Henry Cavill fucking slice a dude in half with laser vision.
Yes, dude, please, DC. Yeah. I don't even want to talk about DC. DC does not have their shit together. But anyway,
But it's really funny because, like, DC Comics, so good.
Yeah.
So good. But their movies are they just don't have it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. They just cannot put
I read an
DC
article
movies.
the other day. Apparently, because of the whole Amber Heard situation, DC might be bought out by Disney.
Wow.
So they're going to own DC and Marvel.
Disney owns everything, you guys. They have their own government.
Which actually might be going away because of a new Florida law. I don't know if you heard about that. But I can't remember what the reason was, but basically Florida did a whole fuck around and find out to Disney, and they were like, oh, shit, okay. Because, that's the whole thing was Disney was getting their tax breaks, and they were able to form their own government. Well, I can't remember what the issue was politically, and we probably shouldn't get into that regardless. But it basically ticked off Ron DeSantis, and he was like, "Hey Disney, if you mess around with this shit, I'll end your government."
That whole thing just reminded me of I was just like, because Disney is buying so many companies and it already has so many companies.
Right.
I'm just considering it's like, eventually, if things keep going like this, companies are just gonna own countries. They're just gonna be their own country and their own laws, their own government. And then I realized
Disney's the closest thing to it.
And then I realized, oh wait, Fight Club predicted that with the line "Planet Coke," and he was talking about when
Planet Starbucks.
Planet Starbucks when shit was zooming in through his trash. And I was like, oh yeah, Fight Club predicted that.
Dude,
I mean, there's a lot of books that with dystopian societies where it's companies that control all the wealth, and because the governments are fundamentally flawed and corrupt, they run out of funding, and then the companies take over. I fully believe that because if you look at the top of the top and who owns what, it's not a whole bunch of companies. It's 10 companies that owns everything.
Every other company.
Yes.
Everything in the world.
Like BlackRock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like Coca-Cola owns a whole big portion. Pepsi owns the other.
Yeah.
And then
guys, want, go to a gas station, look at the energy drink section. 12 of those brands are owned by Coke alone.
Yeah. And what was it? The one that I've heard about is BlackRock, and they're buying up all the housing market.
Yeah.
So that way they can have the theory is that they'll have an entire they'll create a generation of renters because there won't be any more houses to buy.
Right.
And they pay so much for their houses, they'll pay $50,000 plus over the amount because they fucking can.
Yeah.
Right.
If you spend a few extra $10,000, you still have billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's like.
And then you look at it, the average Joe, and they're like, "Well, I can't add 10,000 onto this."
Right.
bill.
Yeah.
I think one of the defining characteristics for me, or at least one of the moments where I'm like, "Oh shit," is space exploration, right?
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you imagine NASA, you imagine the Russian,
Sputnik and all the satellites.
It's all private companies.
Yeah.
So private companies are going to be the ones that are pushing that space colonization.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we just need to
Techno Union State, right?
we need to create a company called the UNSC.
Yeah.
Just
dope.
Create the Mjolnir project and shit. But freaking with all Disney, it surprises me with Kenobi, because you haven't seen a lot of Kenobi, and you've seen the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So you saw the best episode, which was the first one, and maybe the last one, but the last one there's so many issues.
Yeah.
I like some of the payoffs that they were trying to do, and I can appreciate them, but they're just set up on flaws.
It should have been 10 episodes too.
Yeah.
Okay, let
6
me
is
just
too
tell
short.
you the point in which I knew I was not going to finish the show.
Okay.
It was the point where that dude... Okay, so this is after Leia got kidnapped.
Which was bullshit.
Yeah,
The whole
so
control.
That's where I
Yeah.
stopped watching.
So, like,
when
Leia-
that guy was running.
Yeah, couldn't catch Leia
Yeah.
for 45 seconds.
I
A
saw
dude
that and
who's
I was like,
literally like a foot and
Three
a half
of
taller.
them. 3 of them.
3 guys, easily 2 feet taller than this girl, and their legs.
Oh, he was
easily
running
twice
like he
as
doesn't
length.
have hips. He was
Yeah.
like, nah. I was
So,
like, what you
yeah.
doing? You're
And then
an
they catch
alien
them
species.
anyway.
She's
doesn't have
human.
Yeah, the thing that gets me is that they catch her anyway, and so I'm like, y'all guys were literally just filling time. We could have
Yeah.
made it. You could have had it where she saw one of the troopers, maybe wanted to go talk to him. Boom, he gets shot. Boom, hood over her head. Right there, you go. There's your tension. It's like you didn't need her to like CGI slide underneath a branch to be like, ah, yeah, she's cool.
Yeah.
What is it with Disney and their chase scenes?
I don't know.
Star Wars shows.
Yeah,
I know.
they
So
they
bad.
suck. Like the scooter chase scene. Yes, I'm bringing up the bikes.
Okay.
Their
Okay,
chase
but
scene
hold
was
on.
shit.
I think.
Jace, before you dispute his point, let him finish it.
Well, besides talking about the huge plot issue, in my opinion, that is the bikes, and the fact that there is no context about it. I don't know if you've seen Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, I've seen all of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know
the
the
fact
bikes.
that they literally are like, we don't have
Power
any
Rangers.
water, we're starving for water, but it's like, bro, those bikes are so fucking clean. Like, you're telling me y'all ain't got no water? Like, you're on a sand planet. Like, anyway.
I was like, dude,
Buy
like,
a moisture evaporator. You
Yeah.
can buy 3 with that bike.
I was like, okay. By the way, I just want to say, it's like between sandstorms and sun damage, they would have looked whitewashed as shit. Like the like.
No shit. I mean,
Yeah,
have
like,
you seen a car
if
sit
the
out
ca-
in the sun for
If
too
the
many days?
camera can pick it up, like how sun bleached just these cushions are after being in the sun for like
Oh yeah.
not
yeah.
even that
Hold on.
long.
Let me show you.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's fabric.
It is fabric.
But to them, it probably just looks white, right? Until you flip it to the bottom side.
Oh my god.
Like they just sit out in the sun. It's
Holy shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Like-
sun does damage.
Yeah.
See?
I just want to know. I just need context.
Yes.
I want a show. I want a Disney show. This is how Disney's going to win me back.
How they
This
get
is
the
it.
bikes.
This is
They
gonna
go
be
to Nar Shaddaa.
just one movie, and it's about this amazing mechanic, and he's got all these skills that both the rebels and the Empire want,
I've developed.
and
a
he
new,
only uses them to build really cool bikes.
I
go
developed a
really
new metal
slow.
that won't get bleached in the sun and stays shiny forever.
Yeah.
And I want there to be this one scene where he's like on this alien planet, and like the Empire and the rebels are like fighting and killing each other, and he's just like walking through, looking through baskets, trying to find supplies.
Well,
Just
they've
a
got
simple
like
life.
30 shows in development.
Oh my
So
god,
at a
have you
certain
seen the
point,
list?
It's like chimpanzee on the
Shit.
typewriter.
Here,
They're
Riley,
probably
give
gonna
me your
show
phone
similar
real
to
quick.
that.
I gotta. I'll
Oh
lay
yeah.
this out.
Okay. By the way, it was like, okay. So the point where I
Or
stopped.
unlock it for me.
The point where I stopped watching Obi-Wan, it was not when like she couldn't run away from them. That was dumb already.
Yeah.
But also, why did it have to be Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like,
He's the monarch of a planet. You would
Yeah.
think he would have somebody to go out and help.
it's not that he didn't have anybody. It's that he insisted that it
Yes.
was Obi-Wan.
Like, get fucked, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's like, I have a job to do. And then not only that, throughout the show, he tries to ditch Leia multiple times. He's like, here, take her to Alderaan. He does that to like 3 different people. Take her to Alderaan. I have to do something. It's like,
Nice
first
to
off,
meet
you
you.
ditched Luke, and now you're ditching Leia?
Yeah.
The fuck is your job, dude?
I actually don't mind him ditching Leia, because it's like he gets roped in to doing something he doesn't want to do.
I mean,
And
okay.
he's just
so-
like, fuck her.
No, it's like it's the whole thing. It's like the only reason why that whole like plot went the way it was is so that they can justify how did Leia know Obi-Wan
Mm.
in like New Hope when she's like, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope."
Yeah, well, they
Yeah.
really easily could have done that in like a flashback conversation,
Yeah.
or have her like listen in on a conversation between Obi-Wan and what's the
Yeah.
guy's name? Her dad,
Who's dad?
fake dad,
Fake dad?
adopted dad,
Oh,
Bail
yeah.
Organa.
Bail Organa, yeah.
Bail
Yeah,
Organa.
okay, so we got, This is just some of them. I think we got Mandalorian season 3, Rangers of the Republic, Ahsoka, Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we saw, Bad Batch season 2, Vision season 2, Lando, The Acolyte, A Droid Story, and Rogue Squadron. And that's just on Star Wars side. We haven't even looked at Marvel.
I'm actually pretty excited for their Visions.
Now, Visions, I feel like, is interesting.
I liked Visions.
There were a couple of them I liked.
Some of them were alright. I watched, I think, 2 or 3
I
of
think
them, to be honest.
some of them were very artistically driven.
Right. Yes, and I think that was the point of Visions.
And I think it was very much... I think it's less of a Star Wars thing and more of like a anime paying their homage to Star Wars, which is very interesting, especially seeing like the different artists and how they would portray Star Wars in like their own unique way. I really like the black and white samurai one.
Yes, the first one. I think
so
there was
cool.
a reason why they made that the first episode.
Right.
I thought it was just downhill after the first one.
Yeah, I agree. Like after that first one was great. I watched the second one, which was like the rock band, and I was like, okay.
I actually like the rock band. The rock band is probably one of my favorites. Not gonna lie, I think it's such a cute show. Where he's like, I'm just gonna go sing, and the power of my singing is gonna save the universe.
It's like, okay. But like the thing was,
like, let me sing at this concert, so you can have a concert. That way we can have a concert. It's gonna be great.
So let's say you're in the writers' room. Okay, you're going in. This is the thing that gets me. You're going in to make an Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Yeah.
And there's already a book written about it that you could use potentially as source material, which they've done before with particular like callbacks and references and things like that. They've called back to canon, or extended universe stuff, expanding universe. So you already have a book that has a pretty decent plot. I actually like the concept of Tusken Raiders fighting. There's a civil war between Tusken Raiders and the Moisture Farmers.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then Obi-Wan is going in to save Luke by fighting the Tusken Raiders. That's cool. But you know what probably happened now that I just now thought about this? In Book of Boba Fett, Fett was raised by the or not raised, but he worked with the Tusken Raiders, which by the way,
that'd be such a cooler plot.
They were enemies, by the way.
Yeah.
The Tusken Raiders were bad people. I'm glad they died because they enslaved Boba Fett and a couple other people. But no, apparently they're heroes and just unknown. Like they're just a misunderstood tribe.
But I would still like that plot a lot more than what we got.
Yeah, what probably happened was they were like, we can't make the Tusken Raiders bad because we made them good in Book of Boba Fett.
See, but I think it would be such a better plot if you spun them together and like Obi-Wan then has to has confrontation with Boba Fett.
Well, they're two different timelines because Book of Boba Fett takes place after Episode 6.
Oh.
And Obi-Wan is after Episode 3. So I can understand, fighting I think the Tusken Raider idea was a good idea, which, by the way, that's like a freaking layup as far as Kenobi shows. You don't have to do much with Kenobi. No. You can do, any, all the member berries, remember this line, remember that. You can do so much character development with Obi-Wan Kenobi. But they made it so plot-heavy, and the plot doesn't even necessarily make sense.
Yeah.
That you lose all of the character development, and the lines just become cheesy. I don't know about y'all, but there was a scene where Vader and Obi-Wan confront for the first time, and it's like, this is such an impactful scene. There's so many things that you could do with it, right? Mm-hmm. And when they're fighting, Vader looks at Obi-Wan, and he's like, you should have killed me when you had the chance. And I'm like, is this like a 1980s, generic film, like a generic bad guy? You should have killed me when you had the chance. I'm like, there are many other ways that I think Obi-Wan and Anakin could have duked out their hate or Anakin's hatred for Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I feel like that just sounds like a filler line. Like, we'll use this one for now, and they just never redrafted.
It's one of my favorite Vader lines. It comes from a comic book.
Okay.
And he's completely surrounded by rebels, and I guess the leader of the battalion or whatnot, he's like, stop! We have you surrounded! And Vader's just standing there with his lightsaber, and he doesn't have it ignited yet, and he's like, all I'm surrounded by, and then he ignites it, is fear and dead men.
Like, that's
and I was like, oh my god, like chills just down your spine.
That's what we need from Vader. We need like that aggressive side. Not that it just felt generic to me. Like, there's so many I feel like responses that you could have done with Obi-Wan versus Obi-Wan and Anakin. I think actually in the last episode they did all right. I don't know what you saw.
I've seen all of it.
Yeah,
and I think one of the things and it kind of happened in the prequels, is like Darth Vader was this badass character, right?
Yeah,
right.
And the vulnerability was an aspect to it. I mean, that's what ultimately, why he took out Sidious in the end. That vulnerability and love. But I feel like the prequels kind of went too hard. A lot of people argue that it kind of neutered Vader to a degree.
Right.
And I see what they're saying, and I felt that a little bit in Kenobi. Like, I just wanted Vader to just be a little bit more
like
badass.
What
is a great show?
And his the things that they try to do to make him badass just kind of felt edgy and Linkin Park kind of
like
well, I saw
the
edgy
Jedi
punk kind of
all the main characters. It's like
edgy punk.
It's depressing.
You know what is a good show that did do Darth Vader? It's 3D animated, but they did do a good job. It was Clone Wars or The Clone Wars. Is it
Rebels?
Maybe it was Rebels, but it was when Ahsoka saw Vader for the first time.
Rebels,
that was Rebels.
Which,
by the way, they ripped for the latest episode of Kenobi. I don't know if you know that.
Well, that scene,
it's so
and
good.
it's my favorite line from that scene. It's like, I won't leave you behind again. And then Darth Vader, you can, even though it is animated, you can see the painful hesitation in his eyes when he's looking at Ahsoka. But then it's like for a split second, which is really good for animation. It's like,
I don't know if you've seen Arcane, but they do some insane.
Arcane is good. I did see Arcane. You showed me Arcane.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good show.
And then he's just like, I won't leave you behind. And then you see the little hint of Anakin in there. And then Darth Vader fully comes out and he's like, then you will die.
Right, yeah.
See, like, that's
so good, good.
I think that can work. I think that works.
So, have you all seen at least a part of Mando, Boba, and Obi-Wan?
I've seen all of Mandalorian, and I've seen, like, an episode of 2 of Boba, because I'm weird. I give up on shows when I start.
No, that's
the two episodes of Boba that I watched were both Mandalorian episodes.
Well, those are the two best episodes.
Those really are, honestly.
I was like, first of all, this isn't even Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
He's been in less episodes than The Mandalorian.
Which, by the way, I just want to point out, I think it's hilarious that the Mandalorian was able to do a better concept of a Halo ring than the Halo TV show. Which, by the way, if you haven't,
I haven't seen any.
Which I think
can I give you one sentence that will sum up to me, it's the worst thing that happens in the Halo TV show. There's a lot of things that destroy Master Chief as a character. So let me just put it this way. Okay, you know the have you seen any of the trailers?
Yeah, I think I watched a little bit of episode 1.
Okay, did you see? There's the human girl with the Covenant, right?
Okay,
she's like she works with the Covenant. Whatever.
Blonde, you see her ass in one of the episodes.
Oh, okay, I'll have to give it a. Sorry, just kidding.
This is all I gotta say. Master Chief has sex with a Covenant spy. That's a human. That breaks so many things.
That's
This feels like
I'd have rather just had the fucking Arbiter railing him, than that.
Yeah.
It'd been better if it was the Arbiter.
That I would have absolutely watched.
I'd rather Master Chief be gay than be a traitor.
Like, if I knew that there would be a sex scene between Master Chief and the Arbiter, I would have watched the whole show.
Oh yeah, I would have watched this just because I'm curious.
I'm just like,
it's like this is some Mass Effect shit we're getting into.
Hell yes. Hell yeah, Halo just became Mass Effect. That's what I'm fucking talking about.
You didn't know that the Sang Healy were unisex.
But I don't know. I ultimately, I think the rankings are pretty obvious.
More than 2 genders. How's about less than 2 genders?
Yes!
That's real evolution.
My name is Thel, but you can call me Thella.
But I think Mando's best of all the 3 shows.
I agree.
I think by a wide range, and I think Boba's worst.
Yes.
And
because at least with Kenobi, I think Boba is definitely worse, because with Kenobi, I say it's a lot like panning for gold. You have to sift through the shit, which is the plot, to get the little tiny fragment gold nuggets that are in the character development. And still, some of it's like.
Well, and a lot of the main complaints people had with it, I actually didn't share. Like, from what I understand, the vast majority of the Star Wars community did not like the Reva character at all.
I didn't like Reva personally.
I actually did kind of like Reva.
I feel like she was a little edgy to me personally.
From what I know about her,
her attacking Darth Vader and just going. I'm like, Reva, stop.
I thought that scene was hilarious. I thought it was
so
supposed
funny.
to be.
From what I know about her, like she seems so contradiction because like when
It's
you
like,
see her,
yeah,
she
yeah.
wants to kill Anakin.
She wants to kill Darth
Because he-
Vader.
She wants to
because
kill kids.
yeah, because he killed kids.
And then
So-
she goes and is like, I'm gonna go find Luke.
I want to go kill a kid.
I'm like that, yeah.
So it's like Reva.
Oh yeah, I don't think we told you that. But so what happens is she goes to kill Vader. So apparently she wasn't a bad guy after all, even though she's killed several people and tried to torture a child. But then she got to the point where she couldn't kill Vader. We found out in the flashbacks that she was stabbed through the stomach by Anakin when she was a kid. Survived.
He was one. She was one of the
young
she
ones.
survived.
Probably
So
healed by Grogu.
Yeah. She stabbed
That would,
No, I'm certain.
that dude.
I'm certain.
That's gonna
Definitely.
be that's gonna be some horse shit.
No,
She
it's definitely.
yeah
wild.
I know
Right.
I know where you're
He's
going.
50 years old. It's possible.
No, because he was there.
He was there.
He was there, and you can in one of the Mandalorian flashbacks.
That's how they're gonna bring him in.
That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, she stabbed.
That was a fucking
That
load
that
you
was
just dropped.
awesome.
Yeah, I just dropped a whole grenade on the floor.
She stabbed the Grand Inquisitor. He survives. She was stabbed when she was a child. She survived. Vader stabbed her again. She survived. Is Qui-Gon the only person
That dies from
besides
stabbing?
Han Solo, which I don't count the sequels? So is Qui-Gon the only person that died by getting stabbed in the stomach?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think.
That doesn't
Yeah.
come back.
I think.
I mean,
No,
if
'cause
Maul can be cut
fucking-
in half.
That I also
I was
think is
about to
horseshit.
bring that
I like
up. I was just
I like what they did with Maul, but that's horseshit.
I was really trying to think of one other character, and I can't.
Yeah. See, like, the thing is if you don't count the fact that Maul was chopped in half and survived, I think they did a lot of good character stuff with Darth Maul.
I think they really played off of
But I don't think
the
he should
fact
have
that
survived.
he survived as a means of being like, oh, anyone can
Oh
survive.
yeah, anyone can survive if they have enough
See, like
hatred.
the Darth Maul survived getting cutting in half, so like she must have survived from getting stabbed in the stomach. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I'm not. I feel like the Force at this point has kind of been a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Because one of the scenes that you haven't seen, Riley, one of the Force things that really bugged me. Like, it was cool to watch, but it was one of those things where I'm like, no, this is dumb because it could have been used elsewhere, and y'all guys aren't thinking about that. Is a ship goes to take off, and Vader's like, lol, no, freezes it in space and sets it back down, rips apart the metal of the side, which is astronomically powerful.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, that was a decoy. They take off in a second ship, and he just doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do it
No,
that time.
but here's my thing. I'm like, wait a minute. If he could do this, which, by the way, they say you get stronger with the Force as time goes on, why didn't he stop the Millennium Falcon taking off from Hoth if he could do that?
Because they didn't think about that at the time.
Yeah, because George Lucas wasn't like, oh, so many years down the road, they're going to use this, and he's going to be able to stop him because, Vader's got to have super Force powers.
It's just wasted potential is like the main thing that bothers me about that show. And I think Reva's actually a really good example because I think she could have been a really well developed.
That I can agree with.
If she'd have had more time.
I think so.
You know
and
what?
I'm a bit of a... I got a bit of a thing for it because Darth Revan is like one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
Yeah, I love
Reva
Reva.
Revan's
is
awesome.
obviously based off of Revan in a lot of ways. I mean, it's literally his name without the N at the end.
Right.
And it's like the whole going from light to dark to light.
Yeah.
You
Now
know?
that I can get. I think they could have done a lot with
but
Reva as a character.
Here's the thing about Reva is like, okay, she wanted to kill Darth Vader because Anakin tried to kill a bunch of younglings. and she was one of
I
them.
like the concept.
I
of
like
Reva.
that, but why did she want Obi-Wan?
Right. Yeah,
because and she blames him for Obi-Wan. I love the memes that have come from that because it was like, because it shows Reva and she's like, where were you when they were basically slaughtering all of us? And somebody put a meme clip of Obi-Wan getting shot down from up on the cliff. It's like, I was in the middle of a fucking war.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I ended a galactic war. Forgive me.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry I couldn't stop your almost killer because I was on a different planet fighting a war.
Yeah, because I was on a different planet killing the general to end this
And
war.
it's not like he didn't do anything. He did go back and then cut off an arm and 2 legs.
Yeah, I mean, he fucking tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, no?
It's not like he gets zero credit for trying to stop Vader.
Yeah.
Although it was...
You know what?
In all fairness, it would be very easy when Anakin was just, like, crawling and dying for Obi-Wan just to be like,
but force push him slowly into the lava.
Just doesn't even use the force.
Anakin understands what's going on, and he uses his robot arm to give the thumbs up. Like it's a...
You know what would have been funnier, and I actually would have preferred? If Obi-Wan just called Reva the N-word, and that would have been it. And that would have been the entire motivation.
Here's the thing, is like, at the end, Reva decides not to kill Luke. That whole setup is dumb.
Okay,
I'll
she
tell
goes
you
back on the one thing she wanted to do?
She goes to kill Luke. Like,
she seems pretty bad at
out.
She couldn't kill Obi-Wan, she couldn't kill Darth Vader, she couldn't kill Luke.
Here's what gets me, okay? She goes and she delivers delivers Luke back to Owen and Beru, right? Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan's sitting there and he's like, "Wow, shit. There's this woman that now knows about Luke Skywalker and his affiliation with me. This bitch gotta die." And you know what Obi-Wan does?
Doesn't kill.
He's like, "Nah, you're good. Go.
What?
Be free."
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Go frolic.
I mean, it's like Obi-Wan is above killing, but not above making you a quadriplegic.
Well, I mean,
I really would have
I understand in the prequels because I think
with Maul too. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like,
and then leaving you in a volcano.
Man loves dismembering. What can you say?
I feel like with Obi-Wan fighting Anakin on Mustafar, I feel like when he leaves them, he assumes that Anakin's gonna die of his wounds. He just got lit on fire and has all of his limbs lopped off. I'm pretty sure he thinks he's gonna be dead.
Yeah.
He leaves him to die, and he just so happens to be saved by the Emperor. Who
I'm just saying, leaving Anakin like that is a way more dark side move than just mercy killing him.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah. Very, very true.
Obi-Wan was freaking savage back in the day, but like. I was watching a podcast, and they actually had a really cool concept, which was, what if Obi-Wan, when fighting the Tusken Raiders, joins up with this guy that he doesn't know much about. They work together to fight the Tusken Raiders because they have a shared
interest.
Yeah, shared interest, and then come to find out this guy is an Imperial. Finds out that Obi-Wan's a Jedi, and Obi-Wan's like, "Well, shit, you gotta die." And freaking kills him. Like, the amount of character stuff you could do for that is awesome. Because
I think it would have been so fun to, like, if they would have taken the direction of the show. They kind of did it, where, like, Obi-Wan's struggling with what he did and things like that.
Cool.
That would be cool, but they didn't focus on it. Like, I would have loved to see, like, the Jedi are done, right?
Yeah.
No more. So I would have loved to see, like, Obi-Wan without the Jedi code.
Right.
Yeah, almost like Lone Ranger, like Lone
Where,
I just wanted to see.
He taps into
Obi,
like a darker side.
In the desert.
Almost like that Cad Bane introduction in Book of Boba Fett, where he comes in on this small town, ready to fuck up anyone who tries.
But there was so much jumping around.
Yes.
And it's like I really. Ewan McGregor is the whole reason.
That was
I mean, he
did criticism.
And he did a great job. I agree. A lot of people have dissed his acting and the way he delivered some of the lines, but in my opinion, I'm like, there were the only times that I can really remember where I was just zeroed in on the show was close-ups of Ewan McGregor in his acting. Like, for instance, it's one of those things where I hate how they got there, but I like the payoff.
Right.
And so it sucks because I want to like these moments. For instance, when he gets on board and Leia looks up at him, she's like, "Oh, Ben," and he's sitting there and it's just this long close-up on his face, remember? And he just says Anakin. And I'm like, there's so much you can take from that.
Yeah.
Like, realizing his friend is alive, realizing he's failed. What is he going to do? How can he rectify this? What does this mean for Luke and Leia? There's so many things that you can pull from just that one line, one stare. And I think that kind of emotional stuff is great. And I'm like, that's really something. That's a good gold nugget. And I'm like, but it's full of shit.
Well, and when, as people who kind of think about scripts and, like, producing films and shit like that, it's, like, so hard to turn off the analytic brain, which this is slightly problematic, but my rule of thumb is when consuming new Star Wars content, I should at least be mildly inebriated.
Yes.
And I find that it makes it a lot better.
It does.
I mean, I watched the last few episodes of Obi-Wan, pretty tore up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is great.
It is great.
Now this is coming from a guy who walked out of, crawled out of Rise of Skywalker. Like, I can't believe they did it. They pulled it together.
I don't know.
But you were destroyed.
I was destroyed. I cried at like the Raylo or whatever you call it shit. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I was, really. I mean,
My
shameful.
ideal ending would be 30 extra minutes of them just force healing each other back to life.
But-
Just uninterrupted 20 minutes.
Force banging each other back.
Force
to life.
banging.
That
Yeah.
would've been
I'll
great.
give you some of my life force.
I'll fill you
give
up
you some
with
of
my
life
force. I'll force the life back into
Yeah.
you. That's
But
right.
He force pushes her clitoris.
I think a huge part of being a Star Wars fan is enjoying criticizing it, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that way, I feel like I get the best of both worlds because it's, in the moment I'm like, oh, this is amazing. What they did it.
See,
and then
I
afterwards,
can.
I'm like, oh, this is fucking awful. Like listening to reviews of how terrible the writing in the sequels were.
Yeah.
I've spent hours doing that because I enjoy the clusterfuck that was produced.
Oh, yeah.
I can absolutely sit there and enjoy any Star Wars piece of media while I'm watching it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there's always a piece of my brain that's like, oh, well, that was dumb,
Yeah.
or oh, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And part
Well,
of that
that's
comes
your-
from the love,
Yeah, that's your brain turned on.
you know, and another part of it comes from, you know, just being a writer and being a creative person. For instance, let's switch gears a little bit,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
No, go right.
Let's talk about a little bit about the show that we've been writing.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that would be a lot of fun to kind of like talk about.
Sure, we can make that a session. I mean, we have 4 writers like Kenobi. I'm sure we could pull something together.
I think it would be cool to give the audience a little inside knowledge about the writing process. And
Oh, hey, kid.
hey, kid,
What's going on?
Not much. Where's the troublemaker?
Oh, she's out on vacation
Florida.
with Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
living it up at the beach while we're stuck here in the heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about how they're coming along with that shed down there?
It's going pretty well. I know we got some guys that I'll be able to tow it for a decent price. So.
We've already got that. So that's the towing of bringing
Yeah.
it up here. I meant cleaning it out.
Oh, cleaning it out. Oh yeah, no, they're doing fine. I think they got most of it gone now. I think I think they're going to get together one more day and get rid of the rest of the stuff. It shouldn't take too long. It's not much left. So.
Yeah, because the towing up, I can have it done for like $200.
Okay. Yeah, well, the guys that we're gonna do with it, or the guys that we were gonna have, are gonna take it over here. They're gonna tow it, level it, all that sort of stuff. So
They
yeah.
do the same thing.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll talk to Shay and see if she wants to go down that route.
That's what I told her, because now that I'm working
Right.
for Jimmy,
Right.
I get it at my cost. It's just
Yeah.
coming up in my name instead of your name.
Right.
You know, so it's like $200 is $200.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's a solid. That's a fantastic price.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to her and see about
So-
possibly going down that
Yeah,
route.
just
Yeah.
keep me posted on when you want it done. I gotta, because it'll take them a couple days to get it.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Totally.
when they can get up to get it. But
Yeah, no. Like I said, I don't think they got much more left to take out of there. That'll probably take just a day. They just got to plan a day to go out and do it, and then it will be ready to get going. So, hell yeah.
because all I have to do is come down, show them where I want to put.
Awesome. Yeah,
They'll
yeah.
set it, and it's all said and done. And
Yeah, that'll be fantastic.
as far as they know, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, no, that'd be
it was my shed set there.
yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
So
Honestly,
you can't
thank you.
I mean,
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, that's
you guys
fantastic.
got what, $700 price tag or something?
I think so. I think that's what
Yeah.
they're wanting to go for. Yeah,
Mm.
was $700 to put it out over there.
Yeah, because Jimmy buys sheds, and they call them all the time.
Right.
They go get them for like $250 at the most,
Right. Okay.
and haul it back for him, and then he resells them, and they make money hauling it back, and then
Yeah.
hauling it to wherever they need to haul it to.
Right,
Whoever
right.
buys it.
Yeah.
Well, I get it at cost.
Well,
So
good deal.
instead of hauling it to him, they haul it right to the house here.
Fantastic.
Alright.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
definitely talk to
awesome.
Shay about it. That would be a great deal. Honestly, that'll save us a crap ton of money.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's a hell of a lot cheaper than anybody else.
Yeah. Definitely.
Buy more stogies.
Buy more stogies. Yes. Absolutely.
You don't have to worry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it'd be fantastic. Well, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Have a wonderful
Yeah.
night.
You have a great
Have a
night.
great night.
Enjoy yourself.
We will.
Behave.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any
Okay.
noise, I'll come over and whoop all your ass.
Why is he gonna kick our butt? I didn't catch the last part.
Oh, if we don't behave.
Okay.
So what that's about is we're going to be getting a new shed soon, so we need to get it towed, and so Ken's offering to do some of the towing for us, some of the heavy lifting, which is great.
What a nice guy.
There it goes. Yeah, fantastic guy. But like, so you're wanting to talk about the show?
Oh yeah, yeah, because we're all creative types here, and Jeremy's had this idea for a show for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, it's been sitting brewing. I've had a lot of different ideas for it. I have a story that I want to tell, but I'm not exact on what direction I want to go for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you came to me, it was more like you had a very definite idea about characters.
Yes.
And then we've been working on trying to create a cohesive plot.
Yeah.
In order that best shows those characters.
I feel like that's kind of what's happened with Kenobi. Is you have your payoffs that you want to get, and they just had to figure out what plot they wanted to issue to carry out the payoffs. And so,
well, luckily for us, we don't have like 25 years of, canon.
Yeah, to adhere to. It's a free story, so it's up to.
Yeah.
To grab.
Also, I've
Yeah, no shit.
Alright.
That's a fair point, actually.
Yeah.
They broke so much canon, and then I love Philip to death, but I think his understanding of the expanded universe is his undoing, because if anything happens that doesn't necessarily make much sense, the thing that Philip will do, which I can understand,
find the logic.
Yeah, he'll be like, well, in the expanded universe, XYZ happens, and I'm like, yeah, but this isn't the expanded universe. They decanonized it, and so it doesn't work.
But I think
because I don't like the expanded universe personally.
I think for the viewers who have an understanding of the expanded universe, it helps expand, their.
Wow, way to circle back on that one.
Yeah.
Callback.
Back to square one in this conversation.
Just start the whole thing over. It helps them, expand their expansion of disbelief.
Right.
Because they have all that extensive knowledge about things that we don't know about that can justify things that we wouldn't otherwise justify because they know it. And I think that just more comes down to how much do you want to invest within a certain franchise.
Right.
Like, for instance, if we're just to look at Star Wars from a film perspective,
right,
it would be a disaster.
It's got two pretty good movies.
It's got two really good movies.
Let's be honest. Like, a lot of people are like, yo, the prequels are good. I'm like, here's the thing. Subjectively, the prequels get like a good 7 or 8 out of 10 by me, but from a writing standpoint, objective standpoint, they have a lot of flaws.
It's like, I love the prequels. They're fucking trash.
Yeah, exactly. I love the prequels. They're bad movies.
The prequels
I'm like
that I really like.
That trash sometimes.
Yeah. Like that last scene with "You were the chosen one." I'm like tears, and I'm like, but it's Prince.
But then it's followed up with no.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad has the same attitude towards like monster movies. He loves hating to watch bad monster movies.
Yeah.
Like Sharkadile or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, Sharknado.
But it makes sense. I mean, people that watch reality TV, it's like
which is one of the biggest
dumpster fires.
Which is one of the biggest oxymorons you come across in America.
Yes.
Reality TV.
Yes. But you
were. But yeah, we've been writing. We've got a lot of fun, interesting characters. The main plot follows Jeremy's character.
Yes. Who is a villain.
We get to see Jeremy's dark side.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. Both from a writing standpoint and a acting standpoint, I would imagine, dipping into that kind of characterization. I know the first time I played a villain, it was very fun to kind of like honestly sit down and get into that mindset and explore the characterization of it. As a writer, it's been probably one of my favorite characters to write for. I find him so fascinating.
Oh yeah, he's honestly he's probably one of my favorite characters I've ever created. Besides, I think probably Chuck Bradley because he's so much fun.
Yeah,
I like how every time you play a villain character, it's always a lawful evil.
Yes,
and then every protagonist I have is chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
sometimes chaotic good.
Yeah.
it's funny how a lot of your personality will tend to flow into the characters that you write and develop.
Yeah.
And because the thing about this villain character that I've been writing is I wanted to kind of go into a place that I've never gone myself mentally, and I wanted to,
Right.
it's kind of like almost a mental experiment of what would happen if X, Y, and Z.
It's like a character study more than anything else.
Yes.
We're just writing a whole character to, emphasize a certain trait.
Yes. Yeah.
And then seeing how far we can take that to the extreme.
Yeah.
I think one of the challenges that I've experienced through writing is when you first talked to me about this idea, these characters, they belong to a different universe.
Right.
And it's difficult because, like, one, we don't have the rights to that material.
Yes.
And two, we don't have the means of filming.
Yeah, all my filming ideas are always like way too grandiose.
Right, and,
they're
like,
like
the
$90 million
locations.
TV shows, and I'm like, I don't have the funds for that.
I know. I mean, we could pitch it to a company, but of course we give them rights
Right.
Yeah.
over how to treat it.
And so, like, one of the challenges that
What we need to do is call Mr. Beast and have
Yeah.
him donate a lot
Yes,
of money
Mr.
to
Beast,
it.
please
Mr.
fund
Beast,
our
you
show.
want to
Mr.
fund the
Beast.
show?
Fund a show.
Yeah, if you want to fund what is going to be a hit Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even Netflix. We'll get it on.
We'll
get
on
our own
We'll get it on HBO Max.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
We get Mr. Beast to buy a company for us.
Make our own film company.
You know
Yeah.
what HBO Max means? A lot of dong.
Magnum.
Magnum dong.
But yeah, it's been really interesting trying to, like, take the same intensity from what we originally had and, like, almost not downscale it,
But
but like
localize it.
but localize it in a manner in which it would make sense. Like, we could film in places that would make sense for our local area because of where we live.
Right.
One of my favorite characters that I haven't really started writing is yours. I have a little bit of a plot device of what I want for your character for the first season or two. Yeah, we have seasons, plural, you guys.
Yeah.
We are...
Horrible.
Lots planned. Well, what? Yes.
Yes.
Actually.
Spring.
4 seasons planned.
Yep. Spring, winter,
Summer, the fall. And winter
Yeah.
is coming. Made it work somehow.
Although I do have to ask you to specify what show of mine are you trying to...
We're talking about high crimes.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're talking about my character's story specifically?
Yeah,
we're talking
that
about
one we
Pimp
haven't
Daddy.
really worked on a whole lot as far as his arc goes. We're definitely
He's
aware.
such a simple character.
Yeah, we're definitely aware of. Well, here's the thing, Riley. Here's the thing about Pimp. Because I'll be honest, y'all guys have seen these characters before. We've done. Let's plays
we've
with them.
done Let's Plays of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're trying to, like, hide the name. Like, it's some sort of secret project.
The thing about Pimp Daddy Purple is that I know when you've talked about what we want to do for him as a character is like a heavy supportive role and things like that. But I really think that Pimp Daddy Purple could be a Jack Sparrow in the sense from Pirates 1, of course, where he's a simple character, but I don't think you realize the amount of potential that character carries.
So he's like
Because he's a simple character,
he's
but there's so much that you could do with him. It is ridiculously fun.
Yeah, he is a simple, strong supporting role who has the potential, because he's so charming, to really win over the fans.
Exactly.
And just demand, like, we have to see more of him.
So-
I mean, granted, he does have, like, I mean, they're not flashbacks, but they're mentions of his past life, which any of those could be a show.
Definitely.
Right. Oh my god.
And it definitely comes into play in those later seasons.
I want to see, like, one of those, like, feel-good sports movies where it's like, I don't know, it's like fucking... What's an example?
Blindside?
Blindside, The Green Mile.
The Green Mile. Oh, I love Green Mile.
Green Mile is good.
It's Green Mile.
Waterboy.
Yeah. I want to see, like, one of those movies get made up. I want to see one of those movies get made about Pimp Daddy Purple because he mentioned he was a quarterback one time in a playthrough episode.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be his high school. Era.
The way I have it in my head, and nothing's final yet, so we're still in, like, the early stages of, like, figuring out what we want.
Also, by the way, Pimp Daddy Purple was old enough to serve in Vietnam, so he's like 50 to 60.
Oh wow!
Can I see your phone again? If you pull it up.
Oh yeah.
You were saying, Jason?
I love Pimp Daddy's arc in the season 1, because season 1 is mainly a back and forth between Jeremy's character, the villain, and then Riley's character, the pimp.
Kind of the protagonist, not really.
Kind of the pimp, you know.
Kind of protagonist. He's
Yeah.
like a antagonist.
And it basically it's him with one of his whores.
There has to be there's got to be like a neutral word that's in between protagonist and antagonist.
I think there is. I just can't think of it right now.
Yeah, it's like pseudo-tagonist.
Pseudotagonist.
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 But like the whole vision for it is like it's like a buddy cop, like TV thing. So it's like a nice comedy balance to the otherwise very serious plot that Jeremy would be taking hold of.
Just want to make sure that we were live and going well, and we are.
Oh,
And it's like, it's
Which I don't know if I told you guys, we're not necessarily recording. We're live.
we're live,
really?
so everyone got to
Okay.
experience
So-
Ken.
Sorry about all that.
wow. I kind of feel like a jackass for calling out the editor. I was like, editor.
Yeah, you said that, and I was like, I mean, I might do something in post, but I don't know necessarily what you want from me. Yeah, I feel like I should have put that.
You probably should have
Probably.
said that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I
that
mean,
we
I
were
did.
talking
I
to
did think I
people.
said that we were live somewhere in the beginning. I might have. I don't know. I'm probably fucking wrong. I
Okay.
think I might have said that we're recording.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But yeah, no, we've been streaming.
Oh, fun.
It's been great.
So much fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
I like that it's called Halo TV show. Live.
Is it? No, fuck. I'll edit that.
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
Oh, so Halo.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't
let's
put
at
it
least
on
justify the title while we can.
we did.
By
We talked
bringing
about
up a
him
completely
having
different
sex.
franchise.
Oh yeah. We can. I can talk some shit about the Halo to you. I could have written
Or-
the Halo TV show.
If we
We could talk
spend,
about how great the games are.
The games are fantastic.
if we
Well,
can
which
spend
games?
at least 10 minutes on that, that'll give us enough.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that'll
So
give us
Justification.
enough of a justification.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
No, we talked about Disney Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the Halo TV show goes, I know it's a bit outdated at this point, but with the Halo show, I feel like it's really an anti-Halo show.
Right.
There's so many things that they could have done with it. I was excited because I saw Steven Spielberg was a part of it, and then I realized he's just a producer, so he's just funding it. So he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
But with the Halo TV show, like, you want to talk about empty characters, plot, like character development that doesn't make sense. That's what this show is.
Do you think Spielberg would have been a Halo fan if he played the games?
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, most people.
It's probably out of his
Do you
generation.
think the
but-
writers played the games?
No.
No, they actually said that they didn't.
No, they actually
They
said
They
that
came out and
and
said.
then
we did
people
not.
tried to defend them and said, "Oh no!" On Twitter, they explained it more, and when they explained it more, they said, "Yeah, no, we didn't play the games. Like, it didn't actually change anything. They actively avoided the games. I mean, they used source material that 343 gave them, but no, they didn't play the games, and they said they didn't want to play the games because they wanted to write their own story."
Then
Oh,
you didn't.
wow.
You don't have to make it
Which,
Halo.
by the way,
Yeah,
talk
write your
about-
own story if you're going to write your own story.
Yeah, if you're going to write your own story, don't name your city after your planet, because I don't know if y'all guys saw in the subtitles, but it was like, yes, Reach City, Reach. It's like, wow.
Wow, what
Wow.
a reach.
Creative much.
Wow, that'd be
Man.
like if Atlanta was called Georgia's capital.
Georgia City, Georgia.
Yeah, not
United
even
States
Well,
City.
to be fair to Kansas, Kansas City is not in Kansas.
Really?
Yeah, bro. America's fucked up. Dog.
It is a circle of hell. It's one of them. I know it.
Man.
It's like
Speaking
5 or
of
6.
circles of hells, have you guys seen?
That's enough of the Halo TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
garbage. Don't watch it.
yeah. Don't.
Let's-
If you like Halo, don't watch
Apparently, there's a nice button there somewhere.
it. Watch the Halo 2 anniversary cutscenes.
Oh yeah,
Then
those are really
You'll
good.
be happy again.
But have you guys seen Has Been Hotel?
Yeah.
Haven't
I've
heard
seen,
of it.
yeah, I've seen the first.
Has
I've,
been
actually,
hotel.
I've
Yeah.
seen all of it actually.
They're working on an episode, like the first official episode that's coming out sometime this year. They say, but they've actually done pretty much the whole first season of Hella Boss.
Oh wow.
And it's it's actually really funny and really good. I've been really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's more like an adult cartoon-esque style, but it takes place in hell. And I didn't realize what the art style was until like watching it a couple of times. But have you ever watched Teenage Robot?
Yes.
My
Teenage
life
Girl.
is
My
a
life
Teenage
is a
robot.
teenage robot.
Yeah, it's the same animation
Yeah, I've seen
style.
all of it.
That's cool.
It's the exact same animation
If you're
style.
not sold on Hell of a Boss, Brandon Rogers voices
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the main characters.
Yeah, it's so good.
Brandon Rogers, the skate comedy guy, he voices one of the main characters, and the other main character is Zim from Invader Zim.
Mm-hmm. Definitely go check it out, you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments how you like it.
That was a fun episode watching that.
You should definitely. We need to crank them out. We'll watch them sometime this week. Because there's some episodes. Because they release it like every couple of months. They would have like a new episode, and they did that in a span of like over a year. So like one episode would take like 6 weeks to make.
Right.
Because they're all volunteer animators.
Yeah.
But their animation. Some of their scenes, their animation is like top tier.
That's sweet.
Is all of this equipment going to be used for the D&D, Jace's D&D?
Probably it'll be
session?
similar. I think we'll add a webcam onto the laptop.
That was
And
a
we're gonna live
perfect
stream those as well?
segue
yeah.
Okay.
to our D&D segment.
We are not a D&D channel, by the way.
We're not a D&D channel. We just like D&D a whole bunch. But that is something to look forward to.
We'll probably be streaming it on Twitch, I reckon.
Yeah, so go
and
check
then we'll
it
be
out.
posting it on YouTube.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
the-
if you don't catch it on
Yeah.
Twitch, you can definitely watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, and I'm going to use OBS for that as well because I tried using the Twitch UI,
Right.
and for some reason, even though this is more complicated, it makes more sense to me. Like the Twitch, it's weird. I don't know. I don't like the Twitch Studio personally.
I'm super excited to jump back into the campaign.
Yes, I've
we're
been missing it so
really close to getting some getting to the major plot points. Do you guys want to talk about your characters? Tell them what kind of character you guys
Your
are playing.
campaign character?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Your newest one that you've
Yes,
made. I love them so much.
I got blackout drunk and made John Constantine and realized that wasn't original or, interesting.
That was a funny night.
That was a fun.
So,
night. You got shit.
I literally got the most drunk I had ever been because that was the first time I
we
ever
had
blacked out.
we had a handle of Tennessee honey.
Ooh, yeah.
I can't remember how much you drank of it. But
Probably all of it.
I mean, I think we had like half a container's worth, and he brought it down to like that much. He was destroyed.
I was absolutely destroyed, and I made a fool of myself. And now I have to be careful because
Yeah.
your brain gets better at
Yeah.
blacking out the more you do it.
It's rare. It's a rare thing. I think it's the only time that ever happened where Riley called me up and he goes, "Hey, can you please delete that footage because of how embarrassing it was?"
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, no, it's okay. I thought we all had fun that night. Don't get me wrong.
it was a lot.
But I understand how you felt. And I was like,
I
I'll
don't
respect
want the
that.
world to see me that
Yeah,
way.
I respect it. So I was like, yeah.
Well, tell them about your brand new character.
So my brand new character is he is a monk, but he is a bum fighter. He's a homeless guy who doesn't have cheek skin or cheek muscles, so he can't talk. His jaw just unhinges like a snake. So he constantly wears he applies bandages around his face.
Right.
And he can only speak telepathically.
Right.
So
a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a homeless bum fighter with telepathic powers.
He's a
I
fun
love
character.
that. That's a lot of fun. And then of course we got Leon.
Good old Leon.
Leon Sky.
Yeah. He's mostly a gunslinger. I was just finishing Red Dead Redemption 2, so he's obviously heavily inspired from Arthur Morgan as far as looks go.
Yeah.
But he is a kind of Victorian era steampunk character who he's basically obsessed over engineering and wants to craft weapons for personal defense. That's kind of his goal. And so
I love the quirkiness of your character because so far in the campaign, firearms like we know them haven't been invented yet. So he's just rocking this steampunk-esque crossbow that's steam powered and shoots these bolts. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope.
I gotta buff them because every time I get to, because now that the bosses are getting harder, I'll get it to the the third pressure, which is maximum pressure, and it's not doing the damage I want it to, and so I'm like, I need to start buffing these because these enemies are getting powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
if you are super familiar with D&D, I am a Way of Mercy monk.
Oh.
Which is one of the new classes that was released in Tasha's Cauldron.
Oh yeah, Tasha's Cauldron's fun.
So it's a monk with healing capabilities.
Nice.
And the way I flavored it
you guys
was
need
that...
it.
Yeah. He's a monk with healing capabilities.
Yes.
He's not a...
Does he beat the life into you?
So that's the way I flavored it, was that, like, when he does, like, the Hand of Harm, he just punches harder than normal. He's like, but the Hand of Healing is him massaging, like, nerve bundles in your body.
That's amazing.
That's how I flavored it.
That's awesome.
Alright, Jonathan. Tell us about the character you're going to drop for the campaign.
Oh, God.
Make him up right here.
Right
you
now.
guys are hearing it here first.
Yeah.
I've been working on a...
Frog. I see a frog character. I got
what are they called? The two-headed giants?
Etten.
Oh.
Etten.
Etten. I think it'd be fun to play in Etten.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Where one of the heads is the analytical intelligence.
Right.
And the other head is like the emotional brute.
Like, one has left brain, the other one has right brain.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be a lot of fun because you're kind of balancing between those two sort of different characters that morph into one actual character.
Yeah.
Well, because of Tasha's Cauldron.
Stunted Etten to make it, you know.
Well, with the way with Tasha's Cauldron is that they actually made it so that you have a formula to make a custom race, a custom lineage.
That's cool.
So you could just like, because you can just use those tools to like reflavor the Goliath into like another type of giant.
That's
Like,
absolutely.
And where it would make up in strength and constitution, it would have like serious,
right?
You know.
What are you thinking for your class?
Well, I think multi-classing is the natural way to go.
Become a bard and name him Ed and John.
Yes.
That's amazing.
But I think like a barbarian wizard.
That would be
really cool.
Barbarian
It
wizard,
would be
yeah.
Barbarian from like the, you know, kind of less intelligent side of the head,
and then
the
with
wizard.
Warcaster.
Yeah, I would think almost like a
Wizard.
blood barbarian mixed with like a necromantic wizard.
That's
Shit like
freaking
that.
cool, dude.
A
It'd be
necromancer
really cool.
wizard barbarian. Fuck yes, dude.
This makes me excited for it. Yeah.
It reminds me of that Gandalf meme where it's like, oh man, I'm all out of spells. Oh well, he's like jacked to the bone. He's like, I guess I'm gonna beat them all to get death.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course Curtis is also playing with us. That's Jeremy's brother.
Yes.
He's playing Thorin Thyleaf.
Thorin Thyleaf.
Thorin Thyleaf from the fallen realm of Tate.
He's a ranger, right?
Yeah.
Dude's
he's a rogue.
Rogue. He does his sneak attack is crazy.
I love Curtis because Curtis he's the way his brain works. He's just a true chaotic dude.
Yeah,
I love him.
Yeah, and it's just I will never get over the moments that we've already had with him where it's like
You're
running
I'm
around.
I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Where he's,
I'm not much of a smoker.
I'm almost to my final flavor.
I'm getting
Excellent.
I'm getting there, and I'm just like, this is feeling this. Might let it rest for a little while, but I just won't get over that scene where that chick takes his grenade, and Curtis is like, "Yeah, I kill her," and I'm like, "Curtis, no, you don't understand the things
when
that
are you gonna realize your actions have consequences?"
It's like, oh man, he's
and then he blew up that building.
Oh my god, dude's absolute legend. I actually don't think we recorded that one. That was a fun.
That was
night.
wild though.
We snuck into a house. I can't remember to assassinate somebody. Curtis assassinated them, but we got caught. Because
he assassinated the guy, and his wife was in bed with him.
Yeah.
And so she's freaking out, like, "Oh my God, you just murdered my husband!" And he's like, well, "You weren't supposed to be here."
That makes it better. You weren't supposed to see me kill your husband.
And then
you're supposed to find his body later.
She was like, "Let me just grab some things and I'll be out of your way." And she like goes over to the little drawer and she's like getting out a bomb, and he's like, "Nah," just kills her.
Excellent.
I'm like, but then as she's dying, she sets off the first bomb, so it starts counting down. And I'm like, "You don't got much time." And so he's like running. He gets to the roof and he's running off the edge of the roof. And as he jumps off the roof, like the whole top part of the building like explodes. And it's like this crazy scene because Jeremy's like looking for him. He's like, "I don't know where he's at." And then it's just like, he's like, "Oh, found him."
Excellent.
I'm super excited. Did anybody see that? Either something flew across the screen or there's ghosts out here. There's ghosts out here.
There are most places.
Yeah. Super excited for that campaign to really kick off. And that'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be an absolute blast. And I still gotta develop it. I'm writing a Halo one shot. If you want to be a part of that, Jonathan.
Yeah,
It'll be a long ass one shot. It might actually be a few.
A two-parter.
Several shot.
A several shot. A mini campaign.
Yeah, basically because it'll take place during the mission, the Covenant from Halo 3.
Out of the kitchen.
Which is when when you're assaulting the 3 towers.
Right.
Mm.
Fun.
And there is, of course, the campaign that we don't record because it's the campaign that we play when we don't have like
anything
time
else.
to
Yeah.
My campaign.
Love that campaign.
Which, by the way, next session, extra fun.
Okay.
It's gonna be super fun. If you guys want to play it tomorrow, I got the stuff.
Yeah.
I got the stuff. I got my books. I didn't bring
He always
Coke
has
and
it.
pills for.
I've got
D&D.
the supplies.
Yeah, I got the stuff. Do you got the money? They're like,
Yeah.
you don't charge us for this. But it's going to be. You guys are going into a festival at the city.
Oh yeah.
A
I
festival
remember
at the
that.
city. So it's going to be like a laid back kind of session. It's going to be you guys mostly just doing fun shit, whatever you want.
Right.
I love those. I love those.
Not to say that I don't have more plot.
Right. And what you've given us plot-wise so far is fantastic. We have like these mysteries that we're trying to uncover.
Yes.
I'm forever DM, and so to have an opportunity to play an actual character for as long as I've played this character has been truly
A blessing.
a blessing. It's been a lot of fun because once you start DMing, they don't let you stop.
You kind of just once you become a DM, they're just like, okay, you're the DM. No like concern for quality or how good of a DM you actually are. They're just like, you're that.
You're that. That's why I like playing with Riley, because me and Riley will switch off being the DMs. And Riley gets a kick playing. I know a lot of his characters are a lot of fun and intricate, and I think it's a lot of fun when you have two DMs that are really good at what they do, like plot wise, but have like noticeable differences in their particular DM styles.
Well, I mostly focus on conflict.
Yeah.
Because I'm a writer, and conflict is how you make a story.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mostly focus on that, and I've gotten good at that. World building, I'm not super concerned with, because it's like, how much do we as normal humans
know about the world,
the history of the world?
Yeah.
So I kind of treat you guys as I would normal humans on Earth.
Right.
But like, you guys know
what you're seeing.
You guys know what you grew up with.
Yeah, and I'm very much the same way. I think the major parting difference between our styles is that I allow my players to really explore the world, and that determines which plots they pick up. So while there is a centralized, focused story that I want to tell, if my players take the story in a different manner.
I just realized I've been stone cold sober this whole time.
What are you doing?
I know, right? I'm an asshole. I've been.
I think it's great. I'll allow my players to really explore the world, and give them the opportunities to pick up different plots, and that a lot of that comes with also knowing what players that I have. As far as like players who are more plot driven. Like Jeremy, one of the reasons I love DMing for Jeremy is Jeremy will get so caught up in the story.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get so caught up in like the small details. Like he wants to know what the rooms look like.
Yeah.
He wants to know like what characters there are. He's always digging for like different, looking into things. He doesn't just take things at the surface thing. He likes to dig, and I think a part of that comes from him knowing me as a person, how much I like to create in-depth stories,
deeper levels.
Yeah, so he's always searching for like, what is that deeper level, and because of that, it is definitely like directed it towards a very, I think, centralized story, and I'm super excited for the next arc.
Oh yeah.
Because the next arc is the first arc of pure story plot.
Yeah.
Which is going to make it a lot of fun because you guys are the exploring your talents and your worlds, kind of gotten past that. I'm pretty sure you guys are set in your characters now, and you kind of got a pretty good understanding of your characters. For those of you who've been playing with me for a minute, and now that you have your characters, I feel like I can start dropping story plots, because I have an understanding of how your characters are going to act to different scenarios.
Right.
And that's a lot of fun as a DM, is to kind of build those worlds where you understand how you can get to your characters, right. Like how you get to your players. It's very interesting, and it's a lot of fun. I would like to say, as a DM, I would like to brag and say that I do a lot of prep, but I do a lot of notes in my head more than anything else.
Oh yeah, I prepare my campaign the day of.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to use the bathroom. Been going for a while.
Yeah.
You know what? And my character, even though he is quite paper thin, I did try to make him as flavorful as possible.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot.
Who doesn't want to see a telepathic homeless fighter?
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of fun.
Go on an adventure. Even though his motivation currently right now within the world is, I just don't want to be homeless another day. I don't want to go hungry another day.
Yeah. Lots of entertaining.
I love your character, Astriel.
Oh, yeah. Astriel Odias of the Fallen Star of Gabriel. Or, his current title, Astriel Odias of the Risen Star. He's fun. He's a paladin. I realized that Jeremy wanted to play like a very much like an intense, like a rogue-esque player with Jack.
Jeremy, when he came to me, when he asked me what kind of character he would like to play, he said, I want to have a lot of skills.
Right, yeah.
And I was just like,
boy,
dude,
does he.
Easy. I was like, dude, we'll start you off with a rogue, you get some combat capabilities.
I'm pretty sure both Jeremy and Shay had their characters before me. Like, they came up and they thought of it. And I'm pretty sure I texted Riley, and I was like, hey, Riley, does the party have a healer? He was like, nope. And I was like, I was like, are your campaigns like, he's like, you can die very easily.
You can very easily die. And you guys have very easily died.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, we almost died on session 0 twice.
You guys almost die every session.
Yeah, it gets pretty intense.
Because, like, that spirit troll.
Yeah.
That fucked you up.
Oh, yeah.
I think you were down to, like, single digits on health.
Not quite. Because I built Astriel to be a fucking tank.
Did you give him the tough feat?
Mm-hmm.
Of course he did. I didn't account for that. And I was like, oh yeah, you have like a couple more dozen hit points than you normally would.
Yeah, I don't know if... I need to check his character sheet, because I'm not sure if I did the tough feat. If not, I will next time we level up, for sure.
I do like how I treated Jack, though, because Jeremy, when he came up with the character, he kind of came up with just what he wanted to do.
Right,
He was like, do you want to be able to cast spells? He was like, nah, I don't think I'm ready for spells. I was like, okay, so you want to have a lot of skills and you don't want to do spells. So Bard, not a problem.
Right.
I'm going to make you a rogue then. And so that really vibed with him. He was like, sweet, rogues kind of kick ass.
Yeah.
And now I think rogues are his favorite class to play as.
Probably so. I mean, with all the skills.
Amongst the most powerful classes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It took me a long time, but I finally created a Bard.
Bards are great. Bards are a good class. I
Love
never
bards.
play bards, actually. But with Jack, he gave me like probably 2 sentences of backstory. And so everything that you've seen Jack go through was just me building
off of it, yeah.
So because Jack was just to be like a test character for Jeremy, just to get into the game.
Right.
And now Jack is one of Jeremy's favorite characters that he ever made, just because I gave him so much.
I think that we've also because we've been playing them for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is the longest campaign that I've played. What has it been, like 3 years?
Yeah.
I think 2 years is the longest I ever played. These weekly games.
Yeah. And I mean, I've never had a character make it up to level 8. And I think that's where we're at right now, level 8.
I think you guys just made it to 9 last session.
Oh, so we just made it to 9?
That was the funny thing, is like before you went on that big mission, you guys like gained enough experience just from setting up missions and not actually doing them.
Yeah, well, we blew up an entire mountain. That earned us so many level points, like experience points.
Yeah.
When we blew up that mountain, Jared.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
we almost died several times.
I
Several
think you
times.
guys went from like level 1 to level 4 just from blowing up a mountain.
Yep.
Because I was like, guys, this region, because I have several regions that I start them with, I have like 3 regions. They can choose which region they want to go to, and that determines what they're into and what I should focus on in the game.
Yeah.
So the starter area that they chose, Avoa, I was gonna be like, this is a heavy combat. You guys will probably die. This is more of like mid to late game content. But if you guys do survive, expect to go up several levels.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they almost didn't.
No, that was
Several
such a
times.
crazy.
I almost died 5 times.
Yeah.
I was rolling death saves, I think, twice.
There was one point where we were trapped underneath the snow from an avalanche, and we had no sense and direction. All I knew that was like Jack was on top, and so I was like, I'm just gonna. And I knew that he was dying, so I was like, I'm just going to punch him through the snow, and every time I punch him, I'm going to just lay on hands and give him some health points.
I was just like, because what's funny is like when a character is unconscious and dying, anytime you hit them, that counts as a failure on a death save, is whenever they take damage. So I was like, you're going to be dealing like 1 plus your strength modifier of hit points. You're going to be dealing that much damage. So he was like, it's okay, I'll lay on hands at the same time so that it cancels out.
Yeah.
I was like, it would be easier just to lay on hands him so he can be conscious and do the shit himself, probably.
But,
Flavor text.
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, I feel like around level 8 is like a perfect time to introduce like the main story.
Yeah.
Because speaking like, it gets ridiculous for the DM after a certain amount of levels. You know what I mean? I had one campaign that was like a year and a half, and we got to level 25, 20 with 5 mythic levels.
Oh, wow.
And it was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Combat would take 2 sessions sometimes and this was Pathfinder. And so I remember my character had like 5 reactions at that point.
Right.
And so it's like, he tries to stab you, I parry. Stab,
Right.
parry, stab, parry, stab, parry. I mean, it just gets so ludicrous. And I feel like 8 is a really, like right around just under 10, a really good level to like start focusing on those main story points, because it's like the character has enough to do where they have a lot of options, but not so much to do that it's like paralyzing.
And I think it's funny that you mentioned that, because with my campaign, they just leveled up to level 8. And like I said earlier, this next arc is where we're going to start introducing storyline and plot. So I think that's cool that you have the kind of like that system, because it does feel more natural when you go that way. What is someone parked in the middle of the road?
Maybe they're doing a drug deal.
No idea.
No idea.
But I was just talking about Jack, because you remember introducing Jack to me as a character concept, and you were just like, I want to do a bunch of skills, and I was just like, easy.
I want to be skill heavy.
And you didn't give him much backstory. You gave him probably like less than a paragraph worth of backstory that I just had to build on, and now now you're in love with him.
Oh, he's a fantastic character.
Yeah,
so good, so good.
It was like, because as a DM,
I love his arc and the direction that he's going.
As a DM, you got to learn to work. You got to make a lot out of a little.
Yeah, I loved. I think one of the most defining moments for me was when Astriel died.
Yes.
Before he got resurrected by the church, and just watching. I think that was the first time watching Jeremy. Hello, fuck you, Moth. I'm just a light over here. Was watching you get into your character, I think, really for the first time, where you really just committed to the role play aspect of D&D. That was so much fun for me.
It was such
to
a
watch.
hard thing to go through because Jack has all of these skills and all of these abilities, but when your other friend gets basically one-shotted by a sniper rifle and he's dying and I can't get him to say, because normally because Jack has been in combat before. When if somebody gets shot, you try to take him to safety if you have the freedom to. Well, what was happening was I had nothing left. All I had was this potion of speed, swiftness, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, if I can because I was like, I could either run and hide, or I can try and pull Astriel, to cover, so that way he can make his death saves, right?
Yeah.
And survive. And if I had the speed, then my movement would be normal, because if you're carrying somebody, your movement is half, but with the potion it negates that.
Right.
Right. So I was like, all right, I'll take this potion. I'll try and drag him, and then you realize that Jack, who's this not super short, he's like 5'8", and he's a very athletic guy. He's very thin, very
he's toned.
He's very toned, very toned look. I realized that Jack, as a character, isn't physically strong enough to actually carry Astriel. So I'm sitting here with my friend dying, and I don't have the actual strength to carry him away.
Yeah.
And that just like broke my character into another level, because he has a friend that he just physically is not strong enough to save, and that wrecked him.
I think that was the same session that Jack went sober for the first time.
Yeah,
he threw away his flask.
That was such a cool scene when you're on the roof and you're like, I take one last sip of the flask and then I throw it over the ceiling or the roof.
Yeah, throw it off the roof.
I was like, wow.
And I've been trying to add more characters, because that's the thing is I don't believe in DM NPCs,
right?
Where it's like, oh yeah, here's basically what I would have played if I was playing,
right?
And of course, they're always there's that favoritism of yeah, he's my character, so he's better than all of you, and he never dies.
Almost
he never
an elitist.
It creates a sense of elitism. So what I do is that I just make characters that show up just so that you guys can interact with them,
right?
And they are side characters, but I always give you guys the option of do you want this person do you want to take this person with you?
Right.
I treat them like Lydia from Skyrim. I'm just do you guys want a Lydia?
Yeah.
Right. And it's usually they're only just important enough for you guys to interact with them at that time.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I like to have reoccurring characters. It builds the realism of the world. This person, they're off traveling. They might not always be around you, but every couple of sessions you might run into them. Kind of like a Belnock, the dragon hunter.
Yeah.
That you guys traveled to Temp with, and then you guys had that mission in Temp, and then he left, and you guys found him again in the Kingdom of Null. That was
a super fun session, by the way.
Oh yeah. Man, still one of my favorite sessions was session 1 with just Jeremy and Curtis.
They put us against fucking several dragons.
They were traveling in a caravan,
on Titan, but with dragons.
Do you guys I shouldn't ask if you guys like this, but were you guys taken aback by the fact that I made Tamriel, one of the characters that I played, an untrustworthy guy?
I loved it. I loved the character,
the kind of whiplash that you guys experience of oh, this is Tamriel. We've seen him in action. He's a good guy. Blah 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 blah. And then I'm just you can't make heads or tails of Tamriel. You don't know if he's with you or against you, or if he's the main villain.
Well, I love one of the things I love about, and I can't wait to explore this further on in the storyline, is Astriel's personal connection with Tamriel, because they're both celestial beings, because they both have the celestial names, and they're both paladins. So they both walk a very similar walk of life, but just the difference between their personalities. Especially when Astriel found out a lot of what Tamriel did. Because there was that session we spent in the library where Astriel spent the entire time.
It was the plot twist montage.
Where I found out that Tamriel isn't the saint that we know.
And then he fucking dies.
And then I died immediately. And we still haven't really covered, the knowledge behind it. We both know the knowledge, but I think one of the interesting things that I've yet to really come out in game that I'm really excited about is how much Astriel lost trust and faith in Tamriel after what he learned.
Right.
And now he only sees him as a dark kind of twisted soul. which I think is very fascinating because Tamriel's whole character is that call to darkness that is utilized for the light.
Right.
And so I think it'll be very fun when their two characters, like how their morals are going
how
to
they clash, and they clash so well. And
such interesting.
Can we talk about for a second though? One of the funnier parts was when Jack saw his mom again for the first time.
I thought my mom was dead.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't. And that was an ordeal.
That was...
And I love... Well, the thing was I had, like, almost kind of a nostalgic reaction, because it's like, it's your fucking mom, right?
Right.
But then, as you know, I'm at work, or I'm doing stuff, and I'm, like, thinking back to that session, I'm like, this fucking bitch left me.
Yep. And started a whole new family.
Life. And then as time went on, I grew to resent this bitch.
You know, it's like... And then I remember that conversation that you had with your mom, that really heavy one.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, you learned what your mom was like outside of being your mom.
Yeah.
You got to see her as a person.
I think that's always... And
that's the same reaction that you had with Tamriel. He's like, he's not just a soldier of the faith.
Church, yeah.
He's a fucking person with flaws.
Yeah.
and they run deep.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also very fascinating how D&D will,
and of course
play on life.
And that creates conflict.
Yeah, creates conflict,
which is what I do.
Because I remember
Dungeons and Dragons is
it really is just
game.
The theater of life.
It
in
is
a lot of ways,
it is.
And the different characters you can explore, and it's kind of like when you were talking about the writing earlier, writing a villain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I forget the exact quote, but it's like the tree of life, the roots reach all the way to hell.
Yes.
And so it's like seeing both of the positive and negative, or whatever you want to call it, is what really fills out. And I feel like D&D does such a good job of that, between the good and the evil, and like where your character falls. You know what I mean?
The thing that gets me,
the morality play is excellent.
Yeah. For me, I think the thing that makes Dungeons and Dragons such an incredible game is the ability of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Choice to me is so much in that game. That's
why no matter what you choose,
you have consequences.
And chance is always involved. That's why it's like so similar to life. It's like, even if you make the wrong choice, sometimes you could just be that lucky.
Yeah, even if you have the perfect plan, it can unfold
so fast. So fast.
And sometimes you have the worst plan ever, and somehow
I think one of my favorite plans was, and it was a very smart plan. It was just badly executed. Was when you guys were sneaking around in the mansion, and you're like, we're going to take over the guard and get into the guard tier.
I was going to capture... This was by the same time, by the way, Curtis was assassinating the
hit.
The hit. He was doing the hit, and he killed the girl. At the same time, I'm sneaking around, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this like Star Wars Episode 4 style. I'll kidnap, or not kidnap, but I'll subdue somebody and take over their gear, and then pose as like a person, like one of the guard. But I didn't have the forethought of thinking this is a small guard unit. They probably recognize everybody that's a part of the unit.
Wait, my deception's a -2? Oh, god damn it.
Well, what's really funny is
it
like...
makes sense though, logically.
They tricked some people, like some guards, into this dark room, and then they ended up hitting them over the head and knocking them unconscious, and they got into the clothes, like they did it all correctly.
Yeah.
And then he walks out into the next room, and I'm like, it would have worked if it wasn't their captain's, that you were wearing.
Should have worn the skin. If you had a necromancer with you, I'm just saying.
A barbaric necromancer,
It reminds me, it's like...
I'm in, boys.
Every time you say necromancer, it reminds me of that meme where it's like, I must avenge my brother's death, and everyone's just like, you have my axe, you have my bow, and the necromancer, and your brother.
Yeah. That's such a good meme.
I love that one.
Speaking of like necromancy and stuff like that, since we're not really filming the what?
Nothing.
Speaking of necromancy,
I thought you were just gonna.
Say on.
Love banging bodies, bro. Just saying. No.
But I think since we're not really filming our series of or Riley's campaign, I really love the way that my character arc goes, because
Well, there's even so much more to your character that you don't know about.
Well, because Jack originally was kind of a clean slate. He's just, he's your classic, like, sad boy. He has some trauma that he's trying to deal with, and he drinks a lot. It's, like, very simple character. It was so much so I didn't even give him a last name when I first created him. I'm like, he's Jack.
Daniels.
Yeah, he doesn't go by any last name. So I just came up with a name that I like, right? So Jack. But then I found a new D&D book. I don't think it was Tasha's Cauldron. I think it was
well, there's plenty of expansion source books like
Xanthar's.
I
think it was Xanthar's.
Yeah.
No. Actually, I think it was Tasha's Cauldron. Okay. Xanthar's guide was Callan, but
Callan's a fun character.
Callan is a fun character, but with Tasha's Cauldron, they have a Phantom Rogue.
Yes.
And when I saw that, I was like, yes, because it was it's a rogue that has basically gets necromantic abilities, and they're basically like a ghost and things like that. So I told Riley, I was like, okay, so I don't know how you can write this in, but I want Jack to basically make a deal with Death himself, and basically become a Phantom Rogue, and then he becomes Jack the Reaper. And I was like, I never expected that name to have any sort of cool meaning, but I'm like, that sounds fucking dope.
No, and that's a wonderful plot line, because I mean, we haven't explored a whole lot because we kind of been doing Asriel's thing for a couple of sessions now.
Yeah.
But Jack's whole story is just as intricate and interesting to explore as Asriel's, even though Asriel is like the embodiment of like a champion of fate.
He's like main character vibe.
Yeah, he's like his character development expands the universe.
Yeah.
But yours is very local.
Right.
But the thing about yours being local is that like Death is universal.
Yeah.
I can put him anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have to like go across, because I mean, if we're gonna explore Asriel's story even more, we're gonna have to leave the universe you guys are in.
The thing that got me about the Phantom Rogue the most was that Riley was able to basically give me what I want at Consequence, which is something I can that I really appreciated, because you have tokens that give you power, right? They add to your damage or whatnot, right? You basically, what it is let's
That's just interesting, because I played a Pathfinder Reaper game where they did the exact same thing, where it's like you have these like Reaper tokens that you get from death.
That's cool.
That expand your ability. It's almost like key points for monks.
I
was a monk Reaper, and so it was really
That's
cool.
The way it works in this, though, is that every time you kill somebody, you can take a portion of their soul, and that becomes a token. And use those for special.
That's the same way it works when I played. It's just
no, you're cool. So what I told Riley was, I was reading the book, and it said maximum quantity is 3 on your person. And I looked at Riley, and I'm like, Riley. He's like, yes. I said, it says in here 3 specifically on your person. He's like, yeah. And I said, if I had a bag of holding and I put the tokens in there, it's technically not on my person because it's in the void. Riley was like,
it's in that pocket dimension.
Riley goes, that makes sense. And I said, so theoretically, I could have an infinite amount of tokens.
Just start slaughtering villages.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I wanted to make a Jack become basically the Reaper, is that he acquires all these portions of souls, and he basically just becomes an unrelenting force of power.
Yeah.
Now, it's not something that would happen immediate, but basically every kill that Death sends him on, he can use that to gain power in his tokens to fight with, and that's how he basically commits combat.
That's dope.
Mm-hmm. And so so theoretically, Jack can just be like near the power of Death himself, because I can just stack these motherfuckers.
Well, that's badass. The campaign I was in worked very similarly, where essentially each token gave you a mythic action.
Oh, dope.
And so you could you were killing people like motherfuckers. Mythic action.
It's like I take out, like 3 tokens, and then I use my bonus action to use my other 3 tokens.
Have you guys ever had an experience where it's like you or a campaign you're in, something starts as a joke character but then turns into a serious character? Like Jack sounds.
That was what Jack was. Like Jack was a very hilarious dumb character.
I can't think of a better solution or a better example than Shrill.
Shrill. Okay, we haven't talked about Shrill.
Well, the whole reason of Shrill's existence
tell the story of Shrill.
So
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll tune in here because then I'll let you finish because Shrill came out as just
Riley's campaign,
joke.
Yeah.
That I wanted. I wanted someone that
Riley didn't want to play an NPC, right? And so Jace was like, "I'm gonna fucking make him play an NPC."
Yeah, and I wanted to have someone come with us
because I don't like DM NPCs.
And there's a lot of reasons that you don't know about. But Astriel's whole thing was to grab someone and then kill them.
He was supposed to be killed off.
He was supposed to be killed off, but Shay liked Shrill so much.
Okay,
Shay named him, by the way.
I made Shrill a little bit too charming.
Yeah.
What happened?
I forced you to make him a character, and then you rolled.
So
and then...
So here's the thing. What happened was we were on the boat, and Jace was like, "I want somebody that I want to basically have just killed off."
I wanted someone stupid with low intelligence.
So Jace goes, "Find me the stupidest person on this boat," and Riley was like, "Okay." He rolled the intelligence, and Jace was like, he gave him the instructions. He's like, "Hey, I'm Astriel. We're going on this quest. You want to come with us?" And Riley goes, "This person just stares at you blankly and is unresponsive." And Jace goes, "Okay, find me the second stupidest person on this boat." And so he said the same whole introduction, same whole thing. He's like, "You want to come with us?" And he just goes, "Okay."
Yeah. That was
and
the
I was
start
like,
of something
"That's
beautiful.
the character." And so Shay calls him Shrill. She just says, "I want to call him Shrill." And Riley, whenever he creates a character, he rolls to find out what their level is, right? Mm-hmm. And so after the game, Riley was, because he survived up until that point, Riley was like, "Okay, I gotta roll this freaking stupid NPC to find out what character he is." Mm-hmm. Rolls natural 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Riley was like, "Oh my fucking god, what have I done?"
Because now that he's level 20, I have to make him powerful.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, my plan to kill him went right out the window.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Oh, he's level 20. I can't even kill him anymore."
Nobody can stop him.
Recruit.
Yeah,
Yep.
So I made him a really stupid sorcerer. Because sorcerers are charisma characters.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't need intelligence to do what they do. I was like, he is a very fucking powerful sorcerer who, for some reason, is really stupid.
And so we would get into fights, and Shay would just be like, "Shrill, kill," and he'd go, "Okay." Raise up his
just release his fireball.
Power word kill.
Power word kill. All of it.
Yeah. So Shrill, after that point, after session 0, I was just like, well, I can't get rid of him now.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm just going to make him a part of Shay's character story.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing.
Yeah, so I was just like, I don't want him to be a repeat character. I'm going to make him relevant when he needs to be.
Right.
So I put him in Shay's character plot, which Shay has not played in a while, so we have not seen or explored Shrill a lot.
Yeah.
Which I'm not complaining about. Jack and Astriel could take up the whole show for all I care. They're excellent.
Yeah, I love them. They're a lot of
That's
fun.
the one thing that I really like about Riley's campaign is it's full of mysteries.
Oh yeah.
So much shit that I don't know about.
Well, I had a similar experience with a character I had. And it was when I was playing.
We're not a DM. We're not a D&D channel, by the way.
Yeah.
No.
We just like to talk about D&D for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Despite that this whole segment has taken up more time than every other previous segment combined.
After this, we can talk about movies we like.
Oh yeah, there we go.
This was like sophomore in high school.
Okay.
And so I thought this was very clever at the time, but I created a character named E. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like EYIE, and he was a Venarin, which Venarins in Pathfinder are monkey people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I was a monk named E. And I thought it was hilarious, because I'm like, ha ha, monkey! Yeah, well, that campaign lasted for like a year and a half. And E never died.
I love it. I love it.
Well, so Monkey made it all the way to level 25.
You think monks are powerful in 5e? Holy shit.
Dude, in Pathfinder,
they're
dude.
They are.
Did you watch campaign 2 of Critical Role?
I haven't watched any.
I'm
Critical Role.
2/3 done, boys. I just made it to the.
Dude,
they got Yetis in the Caleb's mansion. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, Caleb's mansion.
I haven't seen any Critical Role because I'm actually avoiding it at this point. I'm just like, I will not be compared to Matt Mercer. Don't do that shit.
I just want to finish season 2 so I can go to season 1. Like I really, and I really like season 2.
Honestly,
I want to listen to season 1.
I gotta get past the heist on season 3. I haven't been able to get past it.
Really?
I'm probably gonna watch the animated series though.
The animated series is really good.
The animated series is pretty solid.
I like the animated series a lot.
It's well written, unlike most of the stuff these days.
Well, it's because it's written by actual creative.
Funny enough,
artists.
it's also written written on the fly because it's a D&D game.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of source. They have like over 50 hours worth of material to like condense down, but it's also because of how they did it. They're doing, they're not restricted by different companies.
Right.
They were crowdfunded.
They just
private
went to Kickstarter.
Yeah, they went to Kickstarter, and they were only asking for like 150,000. I think by the end of the Kickstarter, I think it became Kickstarter's most successful campaign.
Yes.
They get like
11 million.
They got insane money.
11
did y'all see
million.
Deadwood?
I watched the first episode or two.
There's only 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah, it's very short. But it has
good?
Brian W. Foster as the DM. I love Brian W. Foster.
It looks like
I'm really upset that he decided to go his own way.
To leave,
Yeah, because he was
He's
such
married
a fun.
to
He's married to Ashley
Yeah.
Johnson.
really
Mm-hmm.
family company.
I genuinely, because of how much he and Sam Riegel joked about it, I thought he was married to Sam Riegel. Because I've been watching Critical Role, I've watched a lot of it, and they always joke about being husband and wife. And I remember one of the live shows, they like kiss when they come on stage, and at that point, or husband.
That's with Sam and Liam.
Sam Riegel is definitely the wife.
Yeah.
With Liam O'Brien.
Yeah.
I love Art.
And then how what is it? Laura Bailey is always Sam always writes her to be in love with him. It's very funny.
It's
the
good.
Nordverse, man.
Nordverse
one of my
universe.
favorite things. That was so dumb. It's so stupid.
But I have to say I enjoy Deadwood, but that's like that kind of mix between almost LARPing and D&D. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a legitimate space for that.
Right.
Because one of the things I love is the collaborative storytelling is like so beautiful. I feel like because it's organic in so many senses, and that's what makes it so much similar to real life.
Yes.
It's like you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, because it depends on the combination of the people involved in the story.
See, like with a video game RPG, you could beat it, right?
Right.
You could beat the chances. You can stack your character. You know how things are going to go. With a D&D session, everything's fair game.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the funniest improv I've ever heard in my life is in D&D.
Oh my god, yes.
It's because it's like the people are invested in their own characters.
Yes.
They understand the motivation of those characters.
Yes.
And it's like, once you understand the motivations of the characters around you, it just becomes like this beautiful harmony.
Yeah.
That I really think it's the best game in the world.
It is.
And I also think it's been going on for millenniums. Like, I really do.
You can't.
Millennium might not be the right word. But centuries,
well, I mean, the Egyptians had 20-sided dice.
Played D&D. Suck it, jocks. Egyptians played D&D back in the day.
Hell yeah.
In the BC era.
In BC.
About to get mopped up. The chick's got a Dixie cup. I got a dick full of helium. I'll fuck you up. Sorry.
Oh shit, that bitch is jumping.
Who?
It's a spider.
Oh.
Hey, Spidey. Why'd you walk?
Oh, I'm gonna get you.
He's like, no, please don't. So, since we've been negative and shitting on Disney, why don't we talk about movies that we actually do like? I know yours is probably gonna be a Fight Club.
Does anyone have Does anyone have a really quick movie within the last 5 years ish that you've enjoyed, that you saw in a theatrical release?
I have one.
Star Wars
very recent.
Rise of Skywalker.
Fuck
dude,
you.
I gotta admit, dude, I loved that film in theaters because I was
absolutely smashed.
There were a lot of firecrackers, a lot of whiskey.
Ooh.
Yeah,
but I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, I think in the last 5 years, I've probably been to the theater like 7 times, maybe.
Yeah,
it's really unfortunate. I love the theater.
I'm really trying to think hard.
I went and saw Uncharted, and it was like the ending killed me.
Oh wait, yeah, duh, the Batman.
Oh,
I haven't seen the Batman.
That That was good.
I have seen the Batman.
So
It was good.
there's another one that I think was good that a lot of people were talking about, by the way, which is the new Top Gun.
Oh yes.
Because they did
I
something.
love the new
they
Top
did something in the Dawson Cinema. I'm sure they do them in other theaters as well. I don't think they did in IMAX for my dad, which was weird. But talk about it's the little things in life. A lot of people say that, right? This is something that got me going into the movie. I go into this movie, right? All this. I'm used to like hearing all the message, all this woke stuff and all this jazz, right? Well, I go into this movie before the movie begins because ads are done, it's about to start, the screen widens, everything gets dark. I see Tom Cruise just sitting here in his shirt, like a close up, like mid shot of him, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And he's like, hey, thanks for coming to see Top Gun. We've put a lot of years into this movie.
I think it was 10 years in the making.
Yeah, it's like it's 10 years in the making, and
the Church of Scientology made this possible.
Yeah, he's like we've done a lot to this movie to get it right and do it the way we want to. So I just want to say thank you for enjoying this movie. And by the end of it, I'm like, and then that was it. It was a minute long basically, and I was like, that's all it took for me to already be interested invested in this movie.
Yeah.
And it was pretty solid. I mean, the third.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, the third act got a little.
Top Gun, don't hate me.
Yeah, you haven't seen the original.
I feel like you have to. Now.
I've also never seen Saving Private Ryan.
Well, I mean,
I've also never seen Fight Club.
We should play a drinking game. Oh.
All right. Thanks y'all guys for watching.
We're gonna go watch.
We're gonna go watch Fight Club.
We're gonna go watch some.
Yeah. No, actually,
it's all in his head, right?
Yeah,
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, have a great night, everybody.
Film classes ruined it for me.